I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Can I kiss you on the mouth?
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Well, your son looks like a fag to me, totally.
What are you going to do about it, asshole, 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 asshole?
All right. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. You know what? I've been trying to cut the intros short now, and that's what I'm trying to do here. Welcome everybody to the BD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. I'm gonna be getting some people in here very, very soon. Open phone lines Friday, fellas. You know what that means. Call in. Let us know your thoughts on the whole shenanigans going on in boxing right now. Not that many fights happening this Saturday, but there's a lot going on in the news, so we're going to be talking about that. And again, short intro, man. We got to come up with something new, something spicy for the people out there, because you've heard this intro thousands of times now, and you know it can get a little weary sometimes. Your ears can get a little tired of it. So listen, fellas, we're going to be opening up the phone line soon. Might be posting some other stuff, you never know. We could get a couple of surprises there for you fellas. But for the moment, shout out to everybody. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get a couple of shekels to send your way, you can certainly do so with the Super Chat feature. But the most important thing is that you continue to support this show by listening and spreading the BDA gospel. All right, fellas. Shout out to For Honor, Paul Seeger, Javis Bickle, Mark Ant, GB Guthrie, Colum, Chris K, Trill Bollins, Rich Kurick, and Chris K, and many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Chris K says, looking forward to the detailed Logan versus Mayweather breakdown. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's coming, Chris K. You spoiled the surprise, man. I was going to do one tomorrow live. The great Logan Paul versus Mayweather. That Logan Paul jab, man, it's going to cause Mayweather some trouble. So get out of here. I was going to watch. You know, at least Conor McGregor was a fighter, and he had a little something there. Logan Mayweather, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this fight tanks at the box office, but you know what? You never know. So we're going to be talking about the Usyk-Joshua journey that's been going on right now. Who knows if that fight's going to happen? Joshua's going to fight somebody, though, because Wilder and Fury, they're tangled up for late July. So Fury, if Joshua, unless Joshua wants to stay inactive for close to a year or more, he's going to have to fight the dangerous Usyk, or people are going to call him a ducker. Trill Bollins in the chat says Usyk beats Joshua. Chris K says Gassiev rocked Usyk pretty good with one of the few clean shots he landed. Usyk probably won't be able to take more than a few AJ shots cleans. That's right. Column says Usyk's reach will mean he has to step in and out. AJ will find him with counters. AJ is his worst style matchup at heavyweight. Appears to me like Usyk doesn't care, man. He's 33, 34. He knows the time to strike is now. He's got nothing to lose, really. If he loses against Joshua, okay, well, was he planning a long heavyweight campaign? I don't think so. I could be wrong, though. Paul Seeger says, too small, AJ's a monster. Yeah, people forget how big Joshua is actually. 6'5", 6'6" tall, I believe, or 6'5", 6'6", about 240 pounds, so that's not the type of guy that you want to be taking shots off of. For Honor says, if Usyk just decides to stay disciplined, box, and stay defensively sound, it will be a long and frustrating night for Joshua. That's a good point. If Usyk just runs around the ring and doesn't really commit to anything, I don't see Joshua knocking him out. Paul Seeger says, going to need to do more than just box if he wants to take them titles. That's the other side of that coin. Will Usyk just want to go 12 rounds, or does he want to get those titles? 1 foot out the door says 5 minutes late. Well, that's why I cut the intro short. 1 foot out the door. Good to know that there's people out there taking, with the chronometer, they're taking timing us really. 1 foot out the door. If you don't watch it, I'm kicking you out, man. I got my finger on the click here. Claudio Monreal says it's not gonna tank. The poll guy is very big on YouTube. You want to replace the U on tube? You want to replace it with something, another 3-letter word? I'm kidding. Javis Bickle says, did Charlos sign with Golden Boy? I saw a t-shirt with Charlos' name with the Mexican flag on it. Yeah, I don't think that happened. Anyway, listen, I'm reading, gonna continue reading the comments. I'm gonna get a couple of people in here, a couple of the regulars, and see if we can get something going, and then I'll open up the phone lines and get everybody on board. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here. I said 2 seconds, fellas. Come on now. Okay, I'm just missing Jimmy. There we go. All right. Now, Boxing Chief, are you there?
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Chief? Thank you for dropping by, man. Really good to have you on board.
Hey, thanks for having me as always.
Absolutely. Well, of course, man. Listen, we're going to be talking about, for the moment to start off, I think we're going to stick to the Usyk-Joshua thing because there's a lot of narratives out there. Some people are saying that Joshua is delaying the negotiations because he's afraid of Usyk. I don't know about all that, but what I'm more interested in is getting people's thoughts on the fight itself. How likely is it for Usyk to get that upset? But before we get to that, shout out to the Iceman for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I wanted to drop a super chat on the Renaissance channel. Yeah, Renaissance isn't monetized, and I don't think it will ever be monetized based on some of the stuff we're talking about over there. But shout out to Iceman for your contribution, man. The most important thing is that you continue to support us over there at Second Renaissance by listening. That's the most important thing. So shout out to Iceman for his contribution here, and we'll always enjoy your support, man. So, Chief, let me ask you this, man. This is a question of the day. And you know you're boxing, man. You know you're boxing, so I'm interested in hearing what you got to say. How likely is it that Usyk can pull off the upset against Joshua here, if the fight happens?
All right, let's start with if the fight will happen. I think what they're doing right now is this talk of Joshua pushing it off, making headlines, constantly making it sound like everything. The Usyk fans jumping in saying he's a ducker, da-da-da-da. That gets people interested to finally see the fight when it happens. I think it has to happen because otherwise all this talk they've been doing about unification goes out the window if Joshua fully gives up a belt. So there's my take on that part. The likelihood, can he beat him? That's just a hard thing to wrap my mind around because you usually have to see the skill outdo the size and power in order to believe it. It's not the fact that it can't happen, but usually you have to, me particularly, I usually have to see it to believe it. Did I know that Duran was a better fighter than Barkley? Yes, but did I know that at 38 he could have pulled that off? I was rooting for him, but I had to see it to actually believe it, and that's how it happened. I don't know if I can picture a scenario where Usyk can completely control the entire fight and the entire narrative and the entire ring generalship, land the cleaner punches, get the better one without getting hit back, and going all 12 rounds and still coming out with a victory. I don't know if I can, without seeing it, I don't know if I can believe it.
That's a very salient point, and it perhaps one of the most important points, because some people say that they would rather see Usyk in there with somebody else just to get a gauge on how he would do against a tall heavyweight. The flip side to that coin is that Usyk doesn't have the time to be doing that. He's already, 33, 34? So it would appear, everything you said is correct, but I think he doesn't care. I think he's going for broke going after this fight. He's thinking, look, I'll prove to you whether I can hang in there with him or not. But I think he's saying, I don't want to waste more time.
Well, I think he fully believes in himself that he's going to be able to beat anybody based off his amateur pedigree, what he did at cruiserweight, and just the type of men him and Lomachenko are. They feel that in the weight classes they're in, that they're comfortable in, that they're good enough, they're skilled enough, they're cerebral enough, but also they're tough enough to beat anybody in the division. So I believe wholeheartedly he thinks he can win, but I think Pizianza thought he could beat Roy Jones until the first round came and he got hit.
Yeah, or how Mikey Garcia thought that he saw something in Errol Spence, and then all he ended up seeing was a jab in his face. So you're right, man. A fighter can believe all he wants, but once he actually steps in there, he might find out that reality has other gifts in store for him. Shout out to, real quick before we continue here, shout out to 1 foot out the door who says cheaper than therapy. We're cheaper than therapy, all right, man. Shout out to 1 foot at the door for his contribution. His avatar always freaks me out. I don't know what that is. Michael Poe says, shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution with the super chat. Says Wilder KO's Fury. Bet with anyone. Oh, Michael Poe going with the upset here. You know what? I wouldn't mind putting a little cash on Wilder because you just never know what can happen. That's my opinion, but it's a bit of a long shot. But hey, that's what betting is for, taking the long shot.
Taking risks.
Taking risks, exactly. By the way, fellas, the phone lines are open, so if you want to call in, go ahead and do that. Yeah, but you know what? It's interesting because if Usyk was 30 years old, I would like to see him fight somebody else, get a little bit more data so that we can compute how this fight would go. But again, he's 34 years old. He doesn't want to waste any more time. He could get upset by some of these other heavyweights. So I think he's just saying, look, just want to get this over with. Fight Joshua and see what happens. Now, the other thing about Usyk is, think about this, man. This guy is a real fighter. He was undisputed at cruiserweight. Now, when I say undisputed, I don't care about the belts. When I stick to the true meaning of undisputed, which means you cannot dispute that he was the best cruiserweight. He beat everybody. And he did in other people's hometowns. Usyk is the type of guy, he doesn't care, like, he doesn't ask for more money. Oh, I want more money or the fight doesn't happen. Or, take away the rematch clause or the fight doesn't happen. He goes in there and goes, look, whatever you want. Hometown, small ring, whatever. Let's make it happen. So I'm not surprised that he wants that Joshua fight. That's the type of fighter he is. We got Gonzalo dropping by the Discord as well. Gonzalo, you there?
Hey, Gonzalo, how you doing?
You sound a little muffled there, Gonzalo. Having trouble hearing you. Having trouble hearing you, man. All right, just jump out and jump back in, man. I think that's gonna help. There you go. Meanwhile, shout out to Michael Pope's contribution. Says it's not about risk. It's about, I believe there's a fix to this trilogy. Can explain it though. It's a feeling. Oh, okay. So he's saying that there's a bit of the fix is in for Fury Wilder 3. All right. Hello? Well, shout out to Michael Pope. Yeah, hello, Gonzalo.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, Gonzalo, let me ask you this. How likely is it for Usyk, if the fight happens, first of all? Because again, there's reports about how the negotiations are being delayed. But how likely would it be for Usyk to pull off the upset against Joshua?
Jesus. I personally think he loses. He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt on the scorecards. If it goes the distance, he has a pretty high probability of getting stopped. Size does matter. Could he outbox Anthony Joshua? Well, definitely as well. Is it a 50-50 fight? I favor Joshua. But then, of course, this is boxing, theater of the unexpected. I've heard that saying go around a few times, and that can happen. Yeah, this is boxing. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, man. Hey, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's you think you get it all figured out. You can, like I said, you can look at all the factors, but then there's that one factor you miss, and whoopsie daisy, the fight doesn't go the way you planned. Real quick, let's go to the phone calls here. Let's go to 337. You're on the air. 337. What's on your mind? Oh shit! Hold on. 337. Hold on. All right, 337. You're on the air.
Yo, it's Dead Game Boxing. What's up, guys?
Oh, Dead Game. It's been a while, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just gonna weigh in on what I believe was happening with the Usyk and AJ situation.
Yes.
I think what's going on right now is Usyk is outpricing himself. That way is gonna make AJ have to make a move, either drop the belts, pay me the money, or go to purse bid. So if Eddie don't want to give Usyk the money Usyk is asking, that fight's gonna go to purse bid, and I'm thinking some wealthy guy in the Ukraine is gonna get that fight in the Ukraine.
Oh.
Or somewhere out there.
Well, listen, that's
yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. So if it goes to the purse bid, that fight is going to be in the Ukraine. That's too big of a fight for those guys to pass up. They're going to unload the money for that fight. They're going to give the fighters what they want. As far as the fight itself, I think it's a 50-50 fight. And I know AJ seems like he has. I think styles make fights, and I'm not sure which style AJ is going to try and come in with. If he come in bulky, I can see him gassing later. If he come in light, I could see him trying to outbox a undisputed fighter that can box, that can go to the cards. So You know, that's going to be an interesting fight. But if it's in the Ukraine, shit, I got Usyk winning.
Let me ask the panel something here. What do you guys think of that game, Steve? Do you think Eddie Hearn could lose a purse bid and the fight ends up in the Ukraine and Joshua ends up fighting in the Ukraine? How likely is it?
Gonzalo, you go first.
I really don't know. The power players that got that money, especially from that side of the world, if Eddie Hearn opposes to doing that, that could actually happen. I don't really know.
So what Dead Game's point was it's going to be purse bid, pay him, purse bid, or vacate. And the bottom line is if they don't pay him, then it's either going to be purse bid. So I don't know. I haven't heard the number of what he's asking for is the thing. I just went to look it up online. I didn't see a dollar amount of what he's asking for. So I don't know how realistic it is. If he's asking for 10 mil, I don't think that's too much. If he's asking for 20, I think that's kind of ballsy because I don't think he's ever made anywhere near that much. And then plus he's the challenger, and Ruiz didn't make that much. Most of the challengers for the heavyweight title haven't made that much, so that would be kind of ballsy. But I think 10 could be doable, and they could still make it without a purse. But if he's asking for more than that, then yeah, it's vacate or purse bid.
Well, according to a website here called sportingnews.com, it says that Pulev, the last guy who fought Joshua, made about 4 mil for fighting Joshua. And Pulev is not exactly a big name as far as I know, maybe in Europe. Usyk, again, he's not a household name either. So if he's asking for 10 mil, I don't know, man. I don't know the logistics of this fight. I don't know if there's going to be a crowd, where it's going to, you know what I mean? So I don't know if asking for 10 mil it's too much, or maybe it's a cash out for Usyk too. Maybe he says, look, like, you know, this is a dangerous fight and I want everything I can get before I move on. But that game.
Oh, he's that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let Dead Game speak, and I got a remark after that.
Okay, the dead game. So what did you say? What did you say Usyk's chances were for a victory?
I say 50-50.
50-50. Okay.
But if it's in the Ukraine, I got Usyk winning.
Oh.
You got to look at it though, man. You're talking about a guy who was undisputed at the weight class below, came up and is getting the shot because of who he is. Usyk didn't have to do the work in the heavyweight division because of his accomplishments that he's done at a lighter division. So you're talking about a very accomplished man going against Joshua, who's changing up his style. I say 50-50, but if it's in the Ukraine, I got Usyk. And why would anybody even be considering dropping a title belt, bro? I mean, when they even mentioned that, it started ringing bells. I'm like, what? You first of all, you trying to get you got undisputed right there. If Wilder win, he definitely gonna fight you. If Fury win, he definitely gonna fight you. Mm-hmm. Why would you even consider dropping the belt? Go take care of Usyk. But the problem is the money. Usyk is gonna price himself out because they gonna get that fight in the Ukraine. All he gonna have to drop his belts, and Usyk is gonna fight for that belt and don't even have to fight Joshua. He'll fight a lower class fighter for that belt.
Yeah, I think maybe Usyk right now, he's in a bit of the Winky Wright chair where he's too dangerous to fight and he's not lucrative. Okay, I can't bring up Winky Wright.
That's towards me. I know that is.
No, that's not a dig to you. It's the first name that came to my mind in terms of a guy that's not lucrative enough to fight and too dangerous to fight as well. So, anyway, listen, that game. Thank you for calling in. We got to move on, but we'll catch you in the next one. All right, man?
Peace out.
Oh, and drop by the Second Renaissance too, man.
Definitely. Peace.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, we'll just bring a week.
Do we have another call, or can I jump in real quick after you read the super chat?
Yeah, let me get to the super chat here. Michael Poe, shout out to the Michael Poe, who says, to the gentleman speaking about who sick in the backyard in Russia, never has their... Oh, shit, it's blocked. Hold on. Never has their... What's he saying? No, man, I'm on a delay. I gotta wait for the image to disappear here for some reason. Okay, so the gentleman speaking about Usyk in the backyard in Russia never has there anything to do with it. It's the A side promotion. If A go, okay, so he's saying that since Joshua's the A side, it doesn't matter where the fight takes place. That's one look at it. But go ahead, Chief. What were you gonna say?
Well, so he brought up some points like if it's in the Ukraine. Well, the only way it's really going to be in the Ukraine is if it goes to purse bid or a vacated belt. And Eddie Hearn's pretty much still going to be calling the shots for most of this. So, especially since Joshua is the champion. As far as Usyk only getting the title for who he is, how many times has Floyd Mayweather moved up and already been the number one contender in the next weight class every time he moved up? It's because of who he was, not because he fought. When he fought Castillo, he didn't fight anybody at lightweight before he became the number one contender there. It's the same concept. He was an undisputed champion weight class before. He moves up. He's automatically a contender within some of these belts because he was a champion paying sanctioning fees to all these belts. So that's how he's getting this ranking. It's not because he had to do the work. Holyfield was ranked number one by the WBC, I think, without ever taking a heavyweight fight.
Yeah,
and then,
true, yeah.
of course, he fought heavyweights after that. But moving up in the rankings, you move a weight class has nothing to do with having to earn it sometimes. Sometimes you just move up and you automatically get the ranking because you already have an establishment with that organization.
That's a good one. Hey, man, let me tell you something, Chief and Gonzalo. If AJ vacates one of his belts, it's gonna be it's gonna be a bad look. People are gonna be making videos nonstop on that, man. It's gonna be Lennox Lewis 2.0.
Nobody made the belts. Nobody made the. Yeah, exactly. No one really until now made the big deal about Lewis vacating a belt left and right for not fighting John Ruiz and Chris Bird. Which technically, sorry, Stu, but those are ducks. Even though he didn't want to, even though they weren't as deserving, even.
I think the Lennox Lewis cartel got to Chief. Yeah, Chief, you cut off, man. You're outside, aren't you? That's the connection there. Yeah,
it's
Chief.
It's going to come down to stamina, BDA, as far as style-wise. You know, Joshua had problems with Ruiz in the first fight, but this was after he got really hurt by a punch that he didn't see. I don't think that Usyk, he does change the angles. He has high activity, but can he really surprise and hurt Joshua to where if Joshua gets hurt, he's going to have trouble, staying steady on his legs and keeping that gas tank that he lacked against Ruiz. No, I think he can control himself and keep Usyk at a distance. If he doesn't outbox him, when Usyk does step in, he's going to catch him with big counters, especially like uppercuts, even a straight right hand. And that's going to keep Usyk honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm doing numerous things here at the same time. Hold on. Okay, let me because the phone calls are piling up. Let me get through a couple of these first. Let's go to the wild card line. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, BD? I just want to say this, man. Usyk is going to get knocked out by AJ. AJ's too big. He's more powerful. Usyk's feet really slow down to me. He gets hit too much. Look at his Chisora fight. He got hit too much for my liking. And ain't no way Eddie Hearn is going to let it go to purse bid, because you really think Eddie Hearn is going to get his big star, his moneymaker AJ, and may say Triller gets in the purse bid? No way they're going to let go to purse bid. So either they're going to give Usyk his 10 mil or they're going to drop the belt. And AJ said that he wants to, keep the belt and everything. So I don't think he's going to drop it. But let me say this, man. Everybody, is all this biased fans in the chat, Usyk fans. We know why you're Usyk fans, not really his fans, though, But let me say this. AJ's going to knock Usyk out. He's going to knock your boy. I'm out.
All right, take it easy there, 111. I don't know if you guys could hear him, but he said that Josh was going to knock Usyk out. People are rooting for Usyk, and he said something underlining the fact that it has to do with race, I believe. But look, first the fight has to happen. So we'll see if that even happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a...
The race was implied but not said.
Yeah, implied. But I mean, look, listen, we got the eyes and ears. We know what's going on here. Real quick, let's go to 646. You're on the air. 646. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, BDA? It's Viking.
Oh, Viking, how you doing, man? Thank you for calling in. Hey, listen, question of the day. Question of the day.
Go ahead.
What are the chances that Usyk can upset Anthony Joshua?
I would say I would give him like a 30% chance just because his legs. But I think AJ finds him and just Usyk moves around but this is not the cruiserweight. You know what I mean? Like when you fucking get hit with Anthony Joshua like a clean 1-2 right hand, you're gonna fucking stop walking around. You know what I mean? This is not like the cruiserweight unified lineal champion. You know when Anthony Joshua hits you, and even if you so much as flinch, that uppercut and left hook combo is coming right behind. And plus, with the Ruiz 2 fight, you can already tell Anthony Joshua can execute the plan. In the first Ruiz fight, he got too cocky and he emptied the gas tank out early. But in the second fight, you saw he can keep reserve. And even if he sees an opening and if he knows the opponent is going to counter, he's not going to pull the trigger. He's going to save his energy all the way to the round 12. So I don't think Usyk has that much of a chance, honestly.
Well, you know what? That's my thing too. If Joshua decides to fight Usyk the way he fought Parker, and there's not that much going on, you have to assume that the judges are going to give it to Joshua. So that's the danger for Usyk.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So now,
and then I also want to say about this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Hearn. This is the last fight for Joshua under Hearn's contract. So if this fight didn't go to if this Usyk wasn't making it so hard, it would be easier for Anthony because Hearn just signed the DAZN contract, I think 5-year or whatever, and Joshua is not included in that contract, and this is the last fight for Joshua under Hearn. So Usyk is just trying to do the Ruiz 2 maneuver, which is AJ has to take the fight because if the fight goes to purse bid, then you can't do the rematch clause, so that won't be under Hearn's control. So, if Hearn has AJ for another fight, which is the rematch clause, then he can negotiate into the zone. It'll be easier. But this all comes down to such a crazy stop, and then Usyk knows that. Usyk knows that Anthony Joshua needs those belts in order to fight Tyson Fury because the appeal was the unified champion or whatever. So he cannot, let go of the belt. And Usyk knows that. So, but Hearns is saying that, Anthony Joshua might let go of the belt just as a negotiating. But, Usyk knows that he has AJ in a corner. So, they're going to have to pay whatever he asks, But as far as the fight in itself, I don't think, Usyk has any chance. But Usyk is trying to get his payday as much as possible because he has Hearns in a corner. Nowadays fighters, they do that, When they know the opponent that's a cash cow is in the corner, like how Caleb Plant is doing with Canelo. Caleb Plant don't fucking deserve no $10 million. Nobody fucking knows who Caleb Plant is, but Caleb Plant knows. Caleb Plant knows it's the last belt, so Canelo is gonna come for them. So it's hey, if you're getting 20, and if I'm only getting 5, give me some of your purse because I know you need this. I'm not gonna give this up. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point, man. Great points. And well, listen, Viking, man, we're gonna move on, but thank you for your call. Thank you for your opinion. Always appreciate you calling in. Catch you in the next one, all right, man?
All right, man.
Take it easy.
It's like the ransom.
Yeah, it's like Mel Gibson in Ransom. In Ransom, man. They're gonna ask for as much money. It's a risk, so hey, might as well get paid for that risk. Let's go real quick to 3. Hold on a second. 351. You're on the air. 351. What's on your mind?
Mr. BDA, good night. How you doing, Mike Pope?
Oh, Mike, how you doing, man? Thank you for calling in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Am I crystal clear?
Well,
good,
yeah,
great. I have a little opinion on both. I'm gonna cover it quick. I won't take up your time. The Wilder Fury.
I can't hear him.
It's just a theory going around. I said it's a theory going around with Wilder and Fury about the fix. How it's being done exactly, I'm not sure, but I'm starting to agree with Ring IQ. Some stuff doesn't smell right. Now with Usyk. Now, Chisora was trying to tackle him, use his strength. If he tries to box him, jab him, AJ, that's perfect for Usyk. If he doesn't change up, I give him a great chance to win. I'm not saying he can't lose, but I give him a very good chance to win. If he tries to stand up and jab at him and doesn't change up at some point,
Yeah. I mean,
got a really good chance.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. Shenanigans ensue nowadays. Well,
Um,
how about Usyk versus Joshua? How about like how likely is it for Usyk to pull off the upset here?
Well, if he wins, and we see that he wins, and it's pretty close, he won't get the nod. But in our eyes, we'll know it. But I don't even know if it'll go that far. But if it does, God bless him, because he's not going to win the nod unless he knocks this guy clean out, and I don't see that happening. But
that's a good point.
It's not impossible, but
yeah, I don't see Usyk getting the decision.
So,
I don't see Usyk getting the decision
exactly.
from the
and
judges.
like I said, he's not going to charge him, tackle him like an old Chisora. He's going to try to buy him and stand outside. That's Usyk's wet dream right there. So if he doesn't change up at some point in the fight, it might work out for Usyk. So
that's right.
He's really a lot bigger than people think, man. I'm 6'2". If they say he's 6'3", well, then he's 6'3", man.
Well, he's big for some people. He's big for some people. For me, he's like average, But for other people, I could see him being big.
One last thing. And Canelo is 5'7". I don't care if it's 3/4 because Floyd, it says 5'8". And when they were flat-footed on the face-off, he was taller than him. That dude is 5'7" and 3/4. That's all I had to say on that.
All right, Michael. Thank you for your call.
I know, no hate.
Yeah, sure. No hate.
And listen, man, thank you for your time, and I'll continue to listen to the rest of the show. I hope Precise gets a chance to call in. I want to hear what he has to say.
All right, Mike. Thank you for your call, man. Catch you in the next one. By the way, could you guys hear him? Because Chief, you said you couldn't, but
in and out. What's up?
Yeah, he was in and out.
All right. We got Precise on. Precise, how you doing, man?
Good. How you guys doing? What's up,
Doing
everybody?
Fantastic, man. Look, the question of the day: can Usyk pull off the upset here? How likely is it that he can pull off the upset?
Look, if this fight were taking place on a level playing field, there was no politics involved, Usyk should be like a 3-4 to 1 favorite. AJ only has a puncher's chance. I'm not talking about politics right now. We all know what the deal is, but like AJ only has a puncher's chance in this fight. He doesn't have the boxing skill to compete with Usyk. He doesn't know how to fight a southpaw. He could catch him with something on the way in, like Gonzalo was saying. But all these breakdowns that I hear that presume AJ wins and he catches him with something, no one ever says. Everyone's always acting like Usyk doesn't throw punches. Like that's not a legitimate breakdown. Usyk's going to be throwing punches at him, and I told you guys many years ago, I'm picking Usyk. If it's a real fight, I'm picking Usyk by a stoppage.
Oh,
he's going to stop this.
That's a bold prediction right there.
Well, he has to, right? I'm sure he knows he has to. He can't get a decision. So I think he's going to go for it, which will make it easier for AJ to knock him out. But I think he stops AJ. Look.
So Precise has a point. We've seen AJ stunned by more than just Andy Ruiz. And Usyk's not exactly a feather-fisted fighter, at least not at cruiserweight. At heavyweight, it remains to be seen how much power he really has. With the exception of the fact the fight I'm about to name is two southpaws. When Paul Williams fought that one Kitana, Kitana was right in his face and just counterpunched him with stuff and counterpunched him and was inside the reach and still was able to beat him in the first fight. In that kind of a scenario, I can see Usyk pulling off this upset that Precise is talking about. Now he's calling a knockout. I'm not necessarily calling a knockout, but I can understand what he's saying.
TKO. I don't think he's going to see.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I can see enough punches keeping AJ befuddled, and that kind if it's the same scenario type fight of I'm throwing but I'm missing, he's right in front of me and he's countering me all day. I can see your point very easily.
I mean, generally when you have a smaller guy moving up, the size really makes the difference when the skill is more or less the same. But like Usyk is on another level to AJ. Like it's not even close. Insofar as technical boxing skill, he's on another level to AJ. So, and when it comes to size, Usyk is. I'm telling you guys, I made a video about this. But once they face each other, the relevant height difference, in my view, is going to be about an inch. And his last fight, AJ was 237. Usyk was on the scale the other day, 231. So, like, the size difference, what are we talking about here? You know, it's like, it's irrelevant. Now, obviously, AJ hits a lot harder than Usyk, no doubt about it. But, I mean, AJ has no chin. he's chinny as hell. So I think he gets stopped.
You know what?
Well,
There's two sides to this coin, as far as I see it. Styles make fights. Chisora fights completely different than Anthony Joshua. Because some people say, well, Chisora gave Usyk all he could handle. How's he going to handle Joshua? But Joshua's, I doubt he jumps on Usyk the way Chisora. Chisora is a, what do you call him? Like a rough rider. He wants to rough you up in there. Joshua, though, he likes to stay. What?
He's a pressure fighter. He's like what Orlando Salido was kind of to Lomachenko. See that dynamic Ukrainian guy?
AJ is a fancy Dan. He's a fancy Dan, AJ. Yeah, he hits hard, but he likes to be fancy in there.
Yeah,
he likes the stamina to fight like Chisora.
Exactly, he tries to be a technician, so that could play into Usyk's advantage. The thing that worries me, though, is that for Usyk is that Joshua jab, because Chisora was tagging Usyk a lot with that jab. I was surprised at how much he was getting caught with that, and I said, I don't know about that, man. One thing you have to give Joshua credit for is he's got a good jab.
He's got a good jab against bums. I mean, like, was he able to, when you put him in the ring with Klitschko, and he got his head jabbed off. But it's not going to be a battle of the jab. It's going to be a battle of the lead hands, fencing, basically. And it's going to be straight left versus the straight right. And in my opinion, I mean, he does have a good jab, don't get me wrong. But, like, against who? He couldn't keep Andy off of him. He ran for dear life in that fight. Yeah, he outboxed him, but, like, did he even really hurt Andy? Andy was hurting him. Anytime he got close to him and threw punches, go ahead, man. He hurt him.
Well, and on top of that, we're still talking about Andy and all these other guys. They weren't southpaws. So you've heard me say this before. You've heard me say this before. When I train my guys, when you're fighting a southpaw, I call it playing patty cake, because you're going to be banging each other's hands a while till you can knock one out of the way and parry your own jab in. I don't know if Joshua's got what it takes to do that. I mean, because I haven't seen him do it, and Usyk's done it many times over. So
the biggest problem for. Sorry, bro. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We're talking at the same time, but we're saying some of the same things. So go ahead.
Yeah, the biggest problem for AJ, in my opinion, is going to be a lateral movement, and not like exaggerate lateral movement, just little steps off to the side to set up the left hand. Usyk's going to get foot position on him easy, in my opinion, because AJ's feet aren't that fast. Now AJ's going to have to cross his right hand to get to Usyk or try to catch him with the left hook. So, yeah, it's a very dangerous fight for Usyk, but I've never seen Usyk hurt, and I've seen AJ hurt by guys that don't punch that hard. Fat Andy is not a big puncher. I'm sorry. Like, he just isn't.
Thank you. I've said that myself. I know he's heavy. I know he's got fast hands, but his record doesn't show the fact that he's a knockout puncher.
Usyk's not small, man. Like, I know this was in the amateurs a long time ago, but, like, he beat the crap out of Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce, we know Joyce is, if nothing else, right? And he's a lot more than just that. But if nothing else, he's a physical specimen. AJ is pumped up. Look, this is controversial, no doubt about it. In my opinion, AJ and Usyk naturally, please understand what I'm saying, they're about the same size. And I think Usyk is a heavyweight that was draining down to fight at cruiserweight because his gold medal was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it super heavyweight? Or at the WBS, he fought at super heavyweight. And none of these heavyweights could hurt him, could really do anything to him. I know it was over 5 rounds and all, but, like, he was pushing these guys back. All these big dudes. So, like, the guy hits hard enough, putting on weight. The size difference is blown way the hell out of proportion. Stamina, skills, ring IQ. I mean, everything except punching power is in Usyk's favor. So how does he lose this fight? We should be talking about how does AJ win this fight. Now how does Usyk win it? How does AJ win this fight? That's what we should be talking about. But, you know, you guys let me know if you think I'm wrong. It's all good.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Anthony Joshua's a little clunky on the feet. When they talk about him being robotic, it's the size that he carries, you know, a little clunky on the feet as opposed to Oleksandr Usyk being a little bit more mobile, and, you know, capable with his foot movement, the way he displaces himself, changes angles. So that's one thing. And also, you know, when Ruiz was tagging up Joshua, even when he wasn't hurt, Joshua was sticking out his tongue, looking a little like
he was
I don't know, scared's the word. Yeah,
No, he was
yeah.
shook.
So
He felt the power.
If Usyk keeps coming and changing the angles, and if Joshua's a little too clunky on the feet and can't set himself to punch while Usyk keeps coming forward, and that might turn ugly pretty bad for the bigger Anthony Joshua.
Hey fellas, let me get through a couple of super chats here real quick. Michael Poe, shout out to Michael Poe, says, that's my point. Joshua's fancying the jab, so it's a possible win for Usyk. Yeah, if it stays on the outside, it gives Usyk a chance to see, at the minimum, gives him a chance to see the final bell. Savior Sammy, whoa, Slugger Sam. He's out of county. He says, guess what? Vacation is over. The bully is back in town. Hide your pockets and your wives. I think he meant husbands. No, I'm kidding, Savior Sammy. Thank you for your contribution, man. Really appreciate it. Good to have you back on the fold. And shout out to Get These Hands for his contribution with the super chat. Says Anthony Joshua is going to turn pressure fighter and walk Usyk down behind the jab and knock him out like he did to Povetkin. You underestimate the boxing ability of Anthony Joshua. Well, listen, Get These Hands. Anything's possible, but I didn't really see him pressuring Povetkin all that much. But listen, guys, thank you for your contributions. Really appreciate it. And hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Here's what I'm thinking, man. Joshua doesn't have to work as hard as Usyk is going to work on this one. And by that, I mean Joshua has the height and reach advantage, I believe. At least the height advantage. That much we do know. And all he really has to do is keep bumping that jab, land a couple of flush shots in there with the jab, prevent Usyk from landing his clean shots, and the judges are going to give him the decision. At the minimum. That's the way I see it. I don't know. Like, can Usyk pressure him and make the fight happen?
Absolutely, he's going to pressure. Of course he's going to pressure. He's going to take the fight to him. He's going to back him up. He's going to put him on the ropes. He's going to whip his ass. I don't know what you guys are thinking is going to happen in this fight. Yeah, AJ is going to be dangerous early, but once he starts huffing and puffing, it's going to be De La Hoya Pacquiao all over again. What's the difference? You guys let me know. What's the difference?
Well, I would say...
And so one last thing. And so, look, I'm exaggerating a little bit just to make it interesting.
You're excited.
Yeah, exactly. But if AJ comes forward, then he just might get knocked out. Because I could very easily see Usyk stepping off the line and walking him into their left hand. AJ doesn't want to come forward against this guy, in my opinion. He wants to, like you guys are saying, use his height and reach and try to catch Usyk on the way in with the hard counter punch, multiplying his punch force. If he goes after Usyk, I mean, he gets obliterated, man. He doesn't know how to do that.
Precise has a very good point that he can wear himself out trying to chase Usyk around. The mover that knows how to move, that knows how to get the angles. And again, we're talking a little bit of the Paul Williams Kitana matchup, except for the fact it's going to be lefty versus righty, which benefits Usyk because he's going to be able to parry the jab and work his own jab. Now, I'm not seeing it the same way Precise does all the way. I see his points, and I agree with a lot of them. Size does matter sometimes, so it depends on whether Joshua's going to be able to impose his size on Usyk. That's the main question. Precise says he won't do it. I'm not disputing him, but that's the big question. Can a 6'6", 240 and some odd pound guy with a 4-inch reach, assuming approximately 1.5 inches per arm, lean on this guy enough to wear him down?
But he doesn't fight like that. He doesn't fight like that. He could.
You're right. He doesn't. You're right. Yeah. By the measurements, you're right. He could, but you're precisely again. Pardon the pun. That's not his game plan. So,
but when you look at how they're built physically, AJ is a very skinny, slender guy that's put on a lot of muscle. Usyk is a very broad-shouldered. She's shorter, but he's broad-shouldered, much wider, and maybe not much, but wider in the shoulders than AJ, who's been sacrificing muscle in order to make 200 pounds. So if it comes down to an inside wrestling type of thing, I want to be the shorter guy with broader shoulders and lower center of gravity. If it comes down to that, right? Where the weight difference isn't all that different. Now, AJ, if he wants to fight that kind of game plan, he has to come in at about 250. You let me know if you disagree. But if he does that, then his stamina is going to suffer, and that's going to be a demanding fight for him. Chisora was basically gassed after 4 or 5 rounds trying to do that to Usyk. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. In my opinion, the best thing for AJ to do is to be light fast, maintain distance, jab and counterpunch, and slow the pace of the fight down. Coming forward, leaning on Usyk, doing all that stuff. I've never seen him be super effective at that. So it's something he has to learn. He has to put on weight. And I think that the narrative has been that AJ has to lose the weight. So I don't know. I don't know if that game plan theoretically makes sense, but in reality, is it going to be a good idea? I don't think so.
Yeah, AJ has never shown that he's that type of guy that he's gonna go in there, walk forward, and rough you up. He could actually tire himself out doing that. I've never seen, by the way, too. There's another thing you got to talk about. Usyk's gas tank is top notch. I mean, just look at the Chisora fight was very demanding, and this motherfucker just kept going. By the way, in the chat from Callum says this will look like Teo versus Lomachenko. I agree. I think no matter what Usyk does, they're gonna give Joshua 10 rounds to 2 or something like that, just like they gave with Lopez. Yeah, they just forget everything Lomachenko did in the middle rounds. I think you're right, Callum. It's gonna be exactly that way. The judges are gonna be very biased, man. Good point. Shout out to Michael Poe in the chat, super chat. He says, "Didn't somebody call Wilder Muhammad Ali the other day?" Yeah, the people that do crack, man. The people that do crack cocaine. They were saying that. Shout out to Get These Hands for his contribution with the super chat. He says, all I'm saying is we're giving Usyk a lot of credit at heavyweight, like he didn't get his ass marked up proper by Chad Witherspoon. Well, Get These Hands, thank you for your contribution. Really appreciate it. Man, I'm seeing a lot of conflicting opinions here on the... all I
know is Chad Witherspoon didn't answer the bell to the 8th round, so... Or the 7th round, one of the two. So.
But see, this is the kind of fanboyish. No offense, but that's what you are, dear commenter. This is the type of fanboyish shit, right? They'll just point out something that Usyk, in their opinion, doesn't do well, and they'll completely ignore the fact that AJ got stopped by a fat fucking blob. I mean, come on, man. I'd rather be Usyk versus Witherspoon than AJ in that first Ruiz fight. I mean, come on, man. Like, let's keep it, let's be fair. If you're gonna criticize, and I think that's fine. That's okay. If you're going to criticize Usyk's performance against Witherspoon and Chisora, let's talk about the fact how Eddie protected AJ on the way up from Chisora. And let's talk about how AJ's been his chin's been looking real shaky to a point where, he's been stopped. Stopped in the amateurs, stopped in the pros, knocked down in the gym multiple times. I mean, come on, man. Dude got no chin. I think it's fair to say. But again, I'm exaggerating, so don't nobody get into their feelings. But the guy's got... his chin's suspect.
He's got balance problems, big time.
Listen, the best thing to do here is for Joshua is, like Precise said, come in light, keep him on the outside. He makes it to the bell. I think at worst, he gets a draw. I don't think that 100 million, guys, 100 million is on the line here for a Fury fight. So come on, man. That's me. I don't like conspiracy theories when it comes to boxing. I need evidence, but. If you really believe this fight's going to be on the level, I really don't know what to tell you.
It's not a theory, bro. It's not a theory.
I know. Shout out to Brian for his contribution with the super chat. Says, I see this fight as Teo versus Loma 2.0, and I can't wait to hear the excuses people will make for Usyk when he loses, and AJ will knock him out. Yeah, just like Lopez is gonna knock Lomachenko out 7th round, right? Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I don't know why he has to make it personal. We're just talking boxing. Some of us are always right and some of us are always wrong. It is what it is. There's no need to get into your feelings and make it all personal. Like I'm going to lose sleep over the fact that Usyk loses. If I thought that AJ was going to beat him, then that's what I would say. Like, I want to be right just as much as anybody else. So calm down over there,
Yeah, by the way, I'm saying Joshua actually wins this fight. I'm giving him I see him as a favorite. So all these people, but anyway, no matter what I say, people are going to go, "Oh, you said Usyk." Stop it. Real quick. We got Recognize on the Discord. Recognize, are you there?
Hello.
Saludos. Recognize.
Buenos días. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, sí. I wanted to ask you, Recognize, question of the day. What are the chances that Usyk can pull off the upset here against AJ?
I got a better question. What are the chances AJ actually takes the fight?
Oh, good question. Very good question.
But if they were to fight, I'm gonna have to totally agree with Precise. I think he beats him up. He stops him. That's the only thing I see. When I see them fighting, I see a worse situation for him. Andy Ruiz style, but he won't be that competitive. Where at least the first 3 rounds, you could say he was in the fight. I think that I could see Anthony Joshua having a meltdown, pretty much.
Okay, wait a minute.
They're nervous about that fight. They're nervous.
Okay,
Extremely
but now
nervous about that fight.
I recognize I got to play devil's advocate here. We're making it out to be as if Joshua is this horrible fighter that's gonna have a Oliver McCall type breakdown. I mean,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. And of course, a lot of it is it's over exaggerating too. But it's a good fight. It's a very good fight. But I see AJ winning. I could see AJ winning that fight. But I think the more likelihood, just boxing skill versus boxing skill, the likelihood is Usyk beats him. Barring some injury, he gets caught with a fucking magic punch that he doesn't see coming, something like that. He just outboxes this dude and probably drowns him late.
Whoa.
And when I found him, he doesn't have anything in the tank anymore. You move.
Can we talk about
I've
levels?
talked about this before and offline, and this isn't the first time he said this. So,
like whenever I try to predict fights, the first thing I look at is levels. So, for example, when we look at Fat Andy, right, when he was in somewhat decent shape and was able to knock out AJ, that's basically the Fat Andy we got against Areola. So not that good, right? Ruiz's level is not that good. He went over to New Zealand, or was it Australia, and basically had a 50-50 fight with Parker, right? So that's more or less his level, Ruiz. But we saw Parker recently get a robbery win, at least most people seem to think so, against Chisora. At the very least, it's that same level. So you take Ruiz, you take Parker, you take Chisora, you look at their fights, and you look at them objectively, that's basically one level there. I think Usyk proved that he's above Chisora when they fought. Whatever people may want to say, he proved to me, and that's why I'm basing my prediction on that he's above. He's one level above. And I'm not just talking about skill. I'm talking about in the division as a heavyweight. He's one level above Ruiz, Parker, and Chisora. He's another level to these guys. And if guy from that level can knock out AJ, why couldn't Usyk?
Yeah, and Parker and Joshua, they went back and forth in a really boring.
I thought that was a draw, man. At the very least, it was a draw.
And what Parker lacks, the lack of what they say heart, or the willingness to make it into an aggressive fight. That's what Usyk does.
Hey, by the way, fellas, real quick, shout out to Pete, Uncle Pete. He says the super chats cost me more than the Canelo Saunders fight. BDA, shoot Uncle Pete a link. All right, hold on that, Pete. I'll get you the link.
Why does he refer himself to as Uncle Pete?
I don't know where that started. I don't know who started that, but real quick, because it just reminded me, this super chat. Shout out to everybody, by the way, who contributed to Gonzalo's GoFundMe page. We actually moved the goalpost up, and we ended up meeting the goal there. So shout out there. You see Gonzalo there at the hospital. Gonzalo, I think Mateo, he's been taking off the oxygen, right?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, he's
your mic.
I don't
sorry.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, for the last 3 days, they've been weaning him off the oxygen. So he usually, now, he's on 0.5. That's less than 1.5. I'm just trying to make myself clear. I know you guys understand. But they've been weaning him up. In the nights, they totally, remove the hose that's running across his lip, So he's half on, half off. And when he's on the lowest level. So once he can deal with that 100%, which he's close to doing, as long as he can keep the fluids down, because he's been used to getting fed by the tube, then he can suck on the bottle, then he's out of here.
That's fantastic.
It looks to me like he just threw a 2-3, man. So he'll be all right.
Yeah, he's doing some combinations, bro.
All praise be to God on that one.
Yeah, that's right. God is good, man. The Lord is great. I don't like to use the Lord's name in vain. But Gonzalo, by the way, because everybody, thanks to everybody who donated, man. Because without you, obviously, it wouldn't have even come close to hitting that limit. Everybody that promoted this, everybody that donated, and I know Mark is still gonna. I don't know. Did Mark donate yet from what he made from the super chat, Gonzalo?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, it's
not yet.
I'm pretty sure he's going to donate it at some point because he. I think what you made in April, you get it at the end of May. So it should be coming in pretty soon. He said he was gonna double everything he made in the super chats. So it's about, I think, about $2,000 right there, man. So shout out to Mark for when he donates that money. And that's about it, fellas. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. Now, let's continue.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's go to the phone lines real quick, man, because somebody's been waiting here for a while. Okay, hold on a second. 917, you're on the air. 917, what's on your mind?
Yo, happy Friday, man. Shout out to BDA. Recognize Gonzalo. God bless your child. Hope everything's well with him, man. It's, so much gratitude to be here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you for your blessings.
That David from Queens?
You already know.
All right, man. Shout out to David. Shout out to all the Queens.
Yeah, man. Yo,
David,
man. So
let me ask you the question of the day.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The question of the day, what are the chances that Usyk can upset Joshua coming in, if this fight even happens?
I believe, first of all, Usyk, he deserves the fight. He deserves it. And but on the other hand, I think Anthony Joshua is a bridge too far. I think he's too small. They say like a good little guy versus a good big guy. The good big guy wins. You could say Usyk can box. True, he can. But who's to say Joshua can't box? Who's to say Joshua can box him from the outside? And when I watched Usyk's last fight versus Chisora, I thought Chisora was. I thought he was going to knock him out. He had him hurt there. And I saw Joshua in the stand. I'm like, man, he can't wait to get in the ring with him. If he gets in the ring with him, I don't see Usyk winning.
So what do you see happening then?
I see if they both are going to box each other from the outside, and Joshua would be able to outpoint him from the outside.
Okay. So that's because. So you're saying the size difference is going to be too much. That's the big factor then.
Yes, I'm not convinced that Usyk could hang with a legitimate heavyweight yet.
Now, what does the
Chisora's not a legitimate heavyweight? Chisora's not a legitimate heavyweight?
He is, and based on the Chisora
on
performance, it showed me he's not ready. Based on how he looked against Chisora, I don't think he's ready for a higher tier competition above Chisora. And you're going straight to AJ. AJ is one of the best in the division. So if you're gonna go from getting rocked by Chisora to challenging the best in the division, I'm not gonna pick you.
He's as good as Fat Andy. They went 1-1. That's AJ's level. What are you talking about? I don't understand this analysis.
No, there's nothing to do with
what happened in
the.
Well, how come Fat Andy knocked him out? Like, we're just gonna ignore that.
My man, too, because Fat Andy is nice with it. He's got fast hands, and you can't sleep on him. He was nice the whole time.
Usyk is not nice with it.
People
the analysis is just it's very flawed.
But that's
fine. You could be right.
Usyk is not nice with it either, and Fat Andy is, but not
he
Usyk.
is. There
you go. That's what I'm saying. So he was able to catch him with swift, sneaky shots. Why am I not going to believe that Usyk can?
I don't think Usyk has the power to hurt Anthony Joshua. You could hit him clean multiple times.
Could be right.
Like full blown hurt Joshua. I don't know about
the
that.
right hook coming from the outside when you can't see it, which is a scenario that can happen when a lefty's facing a guy like Anthony Joshua, is something we have to consider.
I think those perfect shots.
I think he has more than enough power
to
hurt him.
Few, but I don't think he'll be able to land that at will. He'll have to get lucky with it.
I'm going to play
it has to be a perfect night for Usyk and a bad night for Joshua. Then maybe Usyk can pull it off.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for good old Dave. If Usyk is going to hurt Joshua, then the logic dictates it's got to be done with combinations. I mean, I know he did hurt Chisora there with a slap of some sort on the inside, which was surprising. I mean, he really did. You could tell Chisora was affected, but Usyk couldn't put the mustard on the follow-up to get him out of there. I don't know if he wanted to get him out of there. Maybe he was content with going to the decision. But with Joshua, that's the main point here. Joshua can box a little bit. He goes the distance. I'm thinking he gets the decision. So, Dave, you don't see any chance for Usyk here, is what you're saying.
Well, okay. I guess he can. If Joshua comes in, with an off night, he could get outboxed. But the only way Joshua loses, I don't see him getting seriously hurt or anything. You'll get outboxed at best.
All right. Well, listen, that's an interesting call right there. Always appreciate your input, and we got to move on, man. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
Thanks for having me on. Keep up the good work. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You too, man.
Yeah, he could very well be right, but I think his analysis fell flat when he said good little man versus a good big man. First and foremost, Usyk is great. AJ, you want to call him good? All right. I mean, I'll accept that. But I think the analysis was incorrect, saying that they're on the same level, basically, and AJ has the size advantage. No. AJ has the size advantage, but Usyk has the skills advantage and every other advantage except for punching power and size.
You know what? What worries me for Usyk isn't so much the weight; it's the height. Usyk is what, 6'3", and Joshua they have.
No, he's 6'4". Usyk is 6'4", but his shoulders sit as if he were like a 6'5" man.
Really? I don't know what does that mean?
AJ has an egg head, yeah. He has a tall head. Usyk has a very short, square head. So when you look at Tony Bellew and Usyk were the same height, basically, right? The tops of their head were the same height, but Usyk's shoulders sit 2 inches taller than Bellew's shoulder. And that's what matters. That's the height that matters. The top of your head doesn't matter. And when he faced, what's his face? His first heavyweight fight, Witherspoon. Witherspoon is listed at 6'4", and they look the same height, except Usyk's shoulders set higher. So his head is, obviously everyone understands the height is measured to the top of your head, but the only really relevant height in boxing is where your arms are, where your shoulders sit, right? And your chin, maybe. That's really the only height that really matters in boxing. The top of your head, who cares?
Well, that's an interesting analysis right there in regards to the height. So, precisely saying that they're close.
When you saw him next to Gassiev, they look to be the same height. Gassiev's listed as 6'4". You know how they mess up with that shit, right? Like sometimes it's just
6'4", yeah.
Yeah. So when I looked at Usyk was exactly the same height as him. Sometimes in different angles he looked taller.
When Hearn and AJ are in the ring, obviously Hearn is wearing street shoes and AJ is wearing boxing shoes with very thin soles. They look the same height, okay? When Usyk was standing next to Hearn in athletic footwear, they look the same height. I don't think people have taken the time to look at seriously consider size. And this should explain to you why Usyk is 231 and AJ, when he isn't looking like a bodybuilder, is 237. So where's the size difference? Yeah, he has a couple of inches of reach maybe, and maybe an inch or two in height. Like it's ridiculous to hang your hat on like these minuscule differences.
The real size difference is in muscles, and that's not a good thing. We've already seen AJ wear out, and what I mean by that is, like, if you look at Anthony Joshua's muscles, they kind of pop out where it looks like Usyk has muscles that are from exercising, not lifting weights.
Yeah, AJ bone structure is like a basketball player, and not LeBron either. Like a basketball player, that's his build. Usyk's build is like a fucking linebacker.
I gotta tell you something right off the bat, man. Some people out there are fucking. I gotta say it, man. I gotta say the fucking word retarded, man. Because we're here talking boxing. Some people are saying they give Usyk a chance to win this fight. He is the underdog. We've said it a million times. And yet there's still AJ fans out there going, "You guys are stupid. You guys don't know what you're talking about." So because some people are picking the upset, that's the big drama there. I mean, some people. I gotta tell you right off the bat, man. The AJ fans are quickly becoming some of the worst fans I've ever seen out there. I don't think they're quite.
Well, I
yet
mean, whenever you root for the establishment person, you kind of get the worst people. That's usually the way it
It's
goes.
white boy cucks too, man. It's a bunch of white boy cucks.
Oh, yeah.
The man told you like he's superior to you, and there you are on your fucking knees licking his balls. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. I mean, some people love to. Cause I get like I think Reckon said it best. He's the mainstream star, so it's gonna draw a lot of non-boxing fans who can't really quite take it if somebody picks against their guy. Look, if AJ wins, you'll all be happy, man. I mean, it's boxing. So people are allowed to pick the underdog, for Pete's sakes, man. What else was I gonna say? Oh, real quick, yeah, more super chats here that I gotta read. Michael Poe, shout out to his for his contribution. He says Ruiz, fat, skinny, in between. If you move, he can't cut the ring off to save his life. The scene of most of his fights. Yeah, Luis is flat-footed. That's how he gets his power. So he's like Danny Garcia. If you pump a jab in there and move a little bit, you got half the work done. Shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing for his contribution to the super chat. He says AJ's counter right off the back foot is danger. He's been waiting him out, but Usyk's superior work rate and stamina should prevail. I run Pleasant Prairies. I run Pleasant Prairies. Yeah, good for you, man. And by the way, check out the Official Scorecard's channel, the Coup d'Etat Boxing, for more breakdowns on the fights. And hold on a second, there was another super chat here, I believe. No? All right, shout out. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. All right, so let me get Gonzalo in here for something. Gonzalo, what? Okay, so if Usyk has to win, how would you outline the plan, Gonzalo?
If Usyk is to win, he needs to keep it mobile. I know that turning and pivoting like Lomachenko and Usyk and changing the ankles, that's an excellent thing. That's a good thing. It keeps your opponent having to find you while he's tattooing you with punches. And yeah, Usyk can hurt Joshua. Maybe it's not even the first punch, it's the second or the third. He could bamboozle him like Andy Ruiz did. But sometimes you lose a little power as you're turning because you're turning out. It's not like Manny Pacquiao. You're changing the angles and you're stepping in hard. But that's definitely the game plan that I would follow. I would keep turning Anthony Joshua, and as I make them turn and they're moving, and since Joshua's a little bit more clunkier on the feet, if Usyk can catch him with the 1 and the 2. And shake him up, pretty much bamboozle him, then he can step in hard. No more of the turning. Step in and put a little pressure and use your grit to chop him down. That's what I'm saying. You gotta be keen to reading when you're able to hit him, then you shake him. Then when you shake him, you destabilize him. Remember, this is the heavyweights. You're just looking to land one shot, and once you land that shot, like with Pulev and Joshua, it was pretty stale until Joshua caught Pulev with one shot. Pulev was trying to do that at Joshua, but he couldn't quite execute it. He was trying to look for that one shot, and that's just the way that goes, I think.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it's easier said than done, though, right? I mean, it's on paper. That's the strategy, but it's gonna be difficult in there with a guy that's 6 feet 5 inches tall and 200 something pounds. Before we continue, we got Jimmy on the line. Jimmy,
what's up, guys?
Oh, we got, hey, by the way, Jimmy, and we got Pete dropping by too as well. So how you doing, fellas?
Pete the fucking creep. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, well, Jimmy,
guys, what are we talking about? Usyk beating up Joshua?
Wow, beating up. Well, first of all, okay, Precise, Recognize.
I'm just kidding.
Precise and Recognize picked Usyk, and they pissed off a couple of people in the chat room. But the question of the day then is, Jimmy, what are Usyk's chances for pulling off the upset here?
I think great. I mean, if he doesn't get knocked out, he's much better boxer. He's got better footwork, ring generalship. I don't know. You know what I mean? He's a cool customer. To me, all right, this is my opinion of Usyk. Completely nothing to back this up than from what I see in interviews, just how he handles himself. It's almost like he's unbelievably great at boxing, but he's also a very educated person. He could probably go on and do many other things with his life, but he's just that good at it that he's hanging in. So it's a different kind of, you know what I mean? He truly treats it like a sport. Yeah, no, I would not be surprised at all if he really put one on him, a boxing lesson. Again, it would just be, can he take a catch if he gets caught one big shot? But, I mean, that's been Wilder's recipe for his whole life, and look how that's ended up for him. I mean, listen, Joshua was a hell of a lot better boxer than Wilder. I'm not conflating them two. But I rate Usyk. Usyk's an unbelievable boxer. Great ring IQ.
I'm with you, Pete. That's how, Jimmy. That's how I see it. I see it as the reason why I'm picking him to beat him, because I think he's just an unbelievable boxer, and I think that that's going to work out to his advantage, especially as that fight goes on. You know, as the fight continues, he figures out, you know, what AJ wants to do. AJ doesn't really do it with deception. I think he just picks him apart.
That fight goes past 6. It's almost a guarantee, in my opinion.
Unless AJ puts some serious damage on him in the first 6 rounds, if he doesn't stop him, it's not going to look.
100% agreed.
Right, and that puts pressure on him, because I think he understands that. I think Eddie Hearn, especially Eddie Hearn, who I believe Joshua has a lot of trust in, you know, in terms of like making fights and you know, his financial future. I think when he looks at that fight, he's like, he's staying up late at night. He's like, man, I don't know. I should take this fight, but Usyk can win by stoppage. There's the big, you know, $50 million, you know, payday, $100 million payday, excuse me. And you know, it's something that's got them concerned. I think AJ would take it. I think he has, you know, he has enough of that mentality to do that. But I think that if Hearn just says, nah, I don't think we should go this route, he'll just, all right, I'm gonna look stupid, but I'll follow your lead.
So Jimmy said if it goes past 6, it's a good possibility. Does anybody remember I think it was December of 1996 when Evander Holyfield was a shot fighter and it was a sure thing to bet on Mike Tyson? Every round that went by, because Holyfield wasn't a knockout puncher, if you remember. Look,
that's a good point.
Foreman, Larry Holmes.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Then all of a sudden, from nowhere, roughly around the 6th round, you start saying, wait a minute, I think he can do this. And then
to God, dude, I bet on Holyfield in that first fight. I bet on going into the first one before he went to prison. That's how much, because you could see even by then something was off with Tyson. The people had already had the Muslims had their hooks in them.
If you think about Evander Holyfield and you go look at Usyk, these guys, and I'm not saying they fight similar. Maybe they throw a lot of punches, but like they're not similar fighters. One guy's a southpaw, the other one's orthodox. The thing is that they're the perfect height. They're the perfect height, perfect weight. They're these guys that, what do you call those body types again, Jimmy?
Mesomorph body types.
Yes.
Perfect muscular,
yeah.
Muscular frame.
These are almost the perfect frame human beings. You're talking about Usyk, who's a mover. So, you know, if you get a guy a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger than the perfect size man who's 6'2", 6'3", whatever Usyk is, right? Doesn't really mean much, because he's going to have this athletic, this elusiveness that it's going to allow him to offset whatever little size difference you have with boxing skills, which is the most important thing, right? And you can see the muscles. Here's another thing. Like, do you see a fat kid, like a fat, skinny kid when you look at Usyk? I see muscles coming out of that.
The longer he campaigns at heavyweight, the more he gets, adapts to that. Forget it.
That
what's so funny
body.
too, dude? Everybody says, you go on Twitter, of course, it's a cesspool, but everybody's like, oh, this fucking little guy. I'm like, he'd be a fucking monster back in Ali's time.
Yeah, you fucking call him little.
He'll
fucking look at you and say, excuse me? Who you calling little? Like, dude, I tower.
He's 6'3" with like a 78-inch reach. He's bigger than Frazier by a long shot.
Plus, the smaller heavyweights have always given the bigger heavyweights their toughest fights. If you go back in history,
that's true.
Style matchup.
Hey, by the way, that's an excellent point from all you guys. Those, George Foreman was a monster back in the day. He was 6'4". In the chat, Richie Coe says Mario Costa, chill fanboy. Don't get in your. Oh, no, sorry, wrong comment. But listen, speaking of wrong here, we got Pete on the Discord dropping by. Pete, are you there? All right.
Alrighty then.
Let's go. Well, we got
So
King
you're gonna get
Bucho.
Pete.
Well, hold on. We got King Bucho 2 dropping by. King, are you there? Bucho, are you there? No, fuck it. I mean, listen, I
Everybody's
Yeah, I'm on my fucking phone, man. I'm on my phone.
I don't want to hear
I
excuses.
don't know if I sound up.
Hey, by the way,
calm down.
Bucho, question
Oh
of the
wait,
day.
Usyk doesn't look that big. Sorry, Usyk doesn't look also that. Some people claim that he's not a big heavyweight just because maybe his chest is not like all a deep chest. I don't know how you fucking call it. Like
Yeah, like a big.
that's not a But in boxing, you don't really need that shit. So yeah,
A wide back.
Look at the back.
He's got a big
wide.
Yeah.
Yes, the back. I was going to
Two
say the
words.
back muscles, wide back. Yeah, go ahead, man.
2 words. Michael Grant had one
Oh.
hell of an aesthetically pleasing bodybuilding chest.
That's right.
Where did he end up?
In the trash can. That's where he ended up.
Hearn's crazy. Personally, with that fight looming you know what I mean, on the horizon, that big money fight, didn't he learn his lesson the first time? Well, Ruiz was an anomaly, but unless Usyk is going to force it, but I mean, I don't know. Could he be bought off? I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure if they threw him the right money. Put it this way: if I had an opportunity to make $150 million and I lose to this dude, and that gets negated, I'd offer him big. I'd say, dude, give him offer him $7-8 million to watch the fight at home. Buy him a house in Beverly Hills.
Absolutely.
Do whatever you have to fucking do. Don't make that fight right now.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Pete seems to
Hearn
be
is
in
thinking
agreement.
along the same lines. That Usyk is not budget.
He's really thinking right now. He's like, man, what can we do, man? Because
No, I mean, what's up, fellas? Everybody, how we doing?
how you doing,
Hey,
Pete?
is it? Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Interesting. What's happening? Fellas, you know what? He'd be a fool to try to set this fight up before Fury and Wilder got this third fight out of the way. Because if Fury were to win that fight, then we're back on track for Fury and AJ. There'd be no reward, all risk for both of them. Usyk don't want to get clipped either if that were to happen. But the fight itself is interesting as hell because of all the intangibles. You know what I mean? I think like Jimmy just said though, Usyk should take, I don't know, the dollar amount. How about 5% of the total purse? 2.5 points from both guys. Both guys, you probably have a career high payday. Sit out for 1 year and fight the winner. And that's really Usyk's best move, I think.
Yeah, just get it in writing. Say, you know what I mean? They'll probably try to push a second Joshua fight, but
guys, Usyk is a legacy fighter. He's a legacy. Money is, my opinion, he's a legacy fighter. Money is second.
Yeah.
well, that would go, yeah, right.
Bro, you could
that would
buy
go
a
into
house.
he's an athlete.
You could buy a decent house for $5,000 and he's a gazillion.
Right.
I agree with Precise. He's a legacy.
So
player.
why has it been easier? Why has it been easier to promote Loma?
They both got.
What's that?
They both got Hearn for a promoter. You see, and he's definitely a legacy fighter, but he can have both this way.
You know how I know he's a legacy fighter after that fight, and what was the guy at the cruiserweight, the final? I forgot his name. Gassiev. After the Gassiev fight, remember he comes out of the dressing room or some shit. His mother's there crying, and then he's just smiling, and then like he hugs her, and he's like, "You ain't seen nothing yet." Like, so that guy's obviously just not. That guy's not always, because if somebody's just thinking about the money, he'd be like, "Yeah, stop fight, fuck," but I want that money. But he's like smiling. You ain't seen nothing. Like he knows he's going to move up to heavyweight. He's gonna try to create to attain a legacy or some shit. So. Yeah, that showed me something, man.
Like if he wanted just money, he would have just stayed at cruiserweight. He would have dominated that division for years. He would have wrote his own fucking checks. But to Precise's point, it is legacy. The fact that he abandoned unified, undisputed unification to go press his wares in the heavyweight division told me this dude's pushing himself.
You know what? That's what I was saying, Jimmy. I was saying real quick. I want to repeat something I said earlier because, look, win or lose, And I expect Usyk to lose. That's my opinion. But win or lose, you cannot deny that the credit this guy deserves. I mean, like Bucho said, he fought everybody at cruiserweight. Now he's moving up to heavyweight. He wants the best guy in the division without taking any more tune-ups or whatever. He's not asking for take away the rematch clause or no fighty. Give me more money or no fighty happens. He's a real fighter. He doesn't care whether he loses or not. I mean, he cares to a certain extent, but you guys know what I mean. He wants it all. He wants the risk. No risk, no rewards.
What about the people who say that Usyk doesn't deserve a title shot because he just beat the guy we didn't even know about, the first guy, and then Chisora,
and they're the same people
that deserves it over him. Nobody.
And,
He deserves it.
and they're the same people who gave Spence pound for pound status for beating somebody with a larger size disparity than there was between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux, which they call that fight a cherry pick of a lifetime. So you know what I mean? It is what it is with those fucking people. Listen, it becomes when you're an undisputed, unified champion, that carries weight. You move up in the division, doesn't matter if you had 1 or 2 fights. His respect has been earned.
But where was the same narrative when Terence Crawford got undisputed in a weak-ass division? Fewer fights, not nearly as impressive. As soon as he said he's moving up to 147, the Horn fight was just a formality. He was already hailed the number one by a lot of people, the number one welterweight. As soon as he just said, I'm moving up to 147, oh yeah, he's going to kill everybody. I mean, no one sees the difference between, and the double standards between the narratives. And 147 was way stronger than 140. And the cruiserweight division, in my opinion, is more talented than the heavyweight, or no less, at the very least. So, and to say that he doesn't deserve it when no one said that when it came to Terence Crawford, come on, man, that's whatever. I won't even pull the fucking card.
Everybody's tied up. No, everybody's tied up. It's not like all those fights were gonna happen anyways. And the fighters that are not tied up probably had no interest in fighting Usyk either. And if you couple that, I mean, he was plagued with some injuries, but the fact that he was cruiserweight, he deserves to be put in that mandatory position. And maybe he's in a privileged position that he's deserved all along. So we can't really just say, oh, Joshua's the one's being slighted and Eddie Hearn. No, Usyk has earned this, right?
That's right.
Personally, I don't think he's the type of fighter who would put it all on the line against lesser guys. Like these warm-ups he's had, considered kind of, guys who he's expected to have beaten in the heavyweight division. I don't put it past him in his connivingness, being that intelligent, not to go out there and put it all on the line, meaning not trying to knock him out. To make people, because it almost made it a sense of invincibility, vulnerable, like, oh, well, he didn't stop these guys. I don't rate that. I think he knew he was ahead on the cards, and he did what he had to do to win. I don't think he was out there trying to eliminate those guys. It's just my opinion.
Hey, by the way, real quick, man. Good point, man. But I want to get. I got a lot to get to here. Kenshiro, I got a lot of things backed up. I mean, Kenshiro, shout out to his contribution for the super chat, and he says, "All two who think Usyk can't win, one word, Ruiz." Oh, well, I mean, yeah, we're gonna get into that, Kenshiro. We're gonna get into that stylistic similarities. Maybe if you can find them and the differences. Real quick too, there's people have been waiting for a long time here on the phone line, so let's get to them real quick. All right, fellas. 386, you're on the line. 386, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, guys? Everybody, Pete, recognize. I just wanted to say I have a couple points. I think Usyk is the most cerebral fighter I've ever seen. I think he is the smartest fighter in the ring. He makes the best adjustments I've ever seen. I mean, just for example, even just using that up jab against Chisora completely changed the fight. And second, don't be surprised if this fight looks like the first 6 rounds against Spence and Pacquiao, where you're taking a total novice with AJ and you're putting him in the ring with a guy who's been groomed to be pretty much a champion since he can walk in boxing. And the size disparity, I did see Precise's video. It's not that much of a difference. This guy is going to make AJ look so bad. And if it goes to the cards, he probably will be robbed. But Usyk's power has been increasing at heavyweight. But I just really wanted to say how cerebral he is in the ring. And I know you're busy, so I'm going to hop off. But
no. All right, Action Jackson, keeping it succinct and right on the money, man. Shout out to you, man, for keeping it short and sweet, man. Take it easy, Jackson. Thank you for your comment.
All right, peace.
By the way,
dude. See you.
Jackson, dude. Yeah, dude. Okay, another phone call here, and then we're back to business. Hold on a second. 760, you're on the air. 760, what's on your mind? 760, you're on the air. Going once. Going twice.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, 760.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. What's on your mind?
I just want to say I agree with you guys. I think Usyk's going to be a very tough fight for AJ. I mean, when's the last time he fought a southpaw and a slick one, too? I mean, Charles Martin, I think, was a southpaw. But, I mean, like, he's not nearly as good as Usyk. Not nearly the same pedigree or whatever. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough fight for him. Honestly, I think Fury has a much better chance than AJ does. Because I think AJ has to kind of adopt the same strategy as Chisora, you know what I mean? Just kind of brawl, but at the same time, I don't think he has the energy. He'll tire himself out in the later rounds, and if either Usyk will knock him out or cruise to the decision, my opinion, if he does that. I don't know. Right. It depends. Like, if he can knock him out in the first 6 rounds, I think he wins, AJ. But if not, probably not.
Well, that's an interesting breakdown right there, man. We've had I think at this point it's still 50-50, which I'm surprised. I would have expected more callers to side with Joshua, but caller, you just broke it down in a very interesting fashion right there, man. So anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, that's just it.
Fantastic, man. Call back next time, all right, man? Thank you, man. All right, listen, fellas, I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go to the bathroom for a little bit. And I got my newspaper ready. I'm kidding. I don't got to go to the bathroom. I got to go somewhere else. But what I'm trying to get at here is, Gonzalo, I mentioned something about the Mark with the donation that he was going to give. Just to clarify, did he call you at all? Has he ever given you an ace? No,
not in a while. No. I've been on the speaker minds on this live stream a little bit, and he's on there, but we haven't talked about that subject.
Okay, so he hasn't given you a timeline on when to expect that super chat money. All right, I'm just trying to get it, just trying to get a feel here for what's when that might be.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Mark. What? Mark hasn't given it the money yet. That was really.
Well,
Let's talk about that offline.
Well, I think there's a bit of a delay there, Jamie. But I mean, it should be arriving now. Because the money you make from YouTube, I think on...
No, I just thought it would have been, I would have thought it would have been. I'm just surprised, that's all.
Wait, so Mark hasn't paid up yet?
Well, apparently not, says Gonzalo. But I mean, well, I'm expecting the money to go anytime soon now.
That was in April. That was in April, right? April? Yeah, he was doing his stream in April, I believe. So we're in June now. That's fucking weird.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come soon, man. I suppose we keep an eye on it.
I'm sure Mark will give it. He'll give it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is going on here? We're talking. Yeah,
he's gonna get. He'll give it.
I hope so.
And by the way, Kenshiro says BD goes to the toilet like Al Bundy and streams from there. No, that's not true, man. But anyway, I do have to drop off for 2 minutes, so you guys take it over. Try not to talk over each other, right, fellas? Make me proud.
Okay.
BDA, good job taking a lit cigarette and throwing it next to the gasoline pump before you walk away to go take a shit.
Use a gender-neutral bathroom.
I saw one in a bar. They had like 3 bathrooms. Or restrooms, yeah. Kind of fucking weird. But yeah. What are you guys talking? So we're talking about Usyk. His chances. Yes. I mean, there's no way he can win a decision. I mean, he's not going to be allowed to win a decision. So he can still win the fight in the eyes of the fans. But as far as stopping Joshua versus Fury, there's a lot of money involved there.
I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest problem. Is that we can see Usyk winning. And sorry, recognize, but I mean, we can see Usyk winning based off of skill, but. I mean, are they going to let it happen? Let's face it. We thought that Pacquiao-Mayweather was on the other side of the Maidana fight, and a lot of people thought Maidana won that first fight, but why didn't? Because even though there's a rematch, what was on the other side?
Yeah, but forget letting it happen. Yeah. Usyk might knock his ass out. He might stop his ass. They ain't about
another reason why the fight might have happened.
Oh,
That's what they're
That's
afraid
the
of.
risk.
They're afraid
Yes.
that, look, besides Tyson Fury, there are some threats in that heavyweight division for Joshua. There's guys that come to mind, like Deontay Wilder for obvious reasons. But Usyk, because compare boxing ability, boxing styles, compared to each other, Usyk is miles ahead of him, in my opinion.
It's just a problem. The southpaw, the front hand, that fencing style, that movement. It's just a problem for any cruiserweight or heavyweight. Don't get it twisted though. You saw him in that Super Series with Dorticos and who did he fight in the semifinal? Or in the final, Dorticos was the semifinal and Gassiev was the final. He'll stand there and fucking go to town. He'll bang it out. That's what his mom was crying about. She was scared shitless when she saw him just turn in there and hook off with those two guys. And he made it into a firefight even when maybe it didn't have to be. Huh?
It was Brady's, no? Mario's
Brady's, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't really have to be. He could have moved that entire fight, but he will sit down and hook off. So
yeah. What about that?
It's a 50-50 fight, man.
It is, but I heard people say, "Well, Gassiev managed to hurt Usyk, so now that he's fighting these big guys, once he gets hit with a good shot, he won't be able to take it." But I'm like, Gassiev probably hits harder than a lot of these heavyweights. I know people are gonna call me crazy, but at 200 pounds, 220, all of a sudden, because he's still a big guy, and probably for that fight, how much was Gassiev weighing? 215, 210, 215? I did the day of the fight I'm talking about. So
it's not even about the hitting hard to the point where it's a one punch knockout. It's the second and third punch. Like Muhammad Ali, he wasn't really heavy handed. You could just tell when he was hitting the punching bag. He didn't really have like great pop. But just the way he coupled his punches together and the amount of punches he threw with the speed, he had a higher KO ratio than 50%. It was like 64%.
Gonzalo, you dropped out. Well, I think he's in the hospital right now. Yeah, but another thing is...
I went on mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Joshua jab...
He's not looking good.
The Joshua jab is what I think it might give Usyk a lot of trouble. But when it comes to that left... Because, Bucho, you mentioned that Gassiev fight. The Gassiev, I think, hit him with a left hook, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know. Joshua has Joshua has a good left foot, but I don't know if I've never seen him counter off the back foot or with that left hook. I mean, again, we've never seen him with a good southpaw, so we don't have a lot of data to go off of.
Are you talking about Usyk off the back foot? Because Usyk's not necessarily that much of a back foot fighter, man. That guy's looking to hurt you. I mean, I don't consider him like a point fighter at all. But
when you're
turning, he understands
when you're
the weight
pivoting,
differences.
when you're changing the angles, like him, it's kind of like being on the back foot. But the only difference is that you're not stepping away. You're still in there to continue popping the other guy in his face. You're changing the angles so he cannot find you, but you can find him reasonably inside the pocket. You do lose power because you're turning away. It's basically like being on the back foot, but you're not totally running away from the action. You're spinning because you're trying to get the other guy while not allowing the other guy to hit you. And one thing you do generate a little power on the hooks. If you're spinning and then you're swinging like a right hook as you're spinning out, yeah, you can create force on your hooks. But generally speaking, it's not like Manny Pacquiao who's changing the angles and is darting in and stepping heavy on the front foot. No, you're turning out. But the thing is, you're turning out, but you're continuously popping the other guy in the face, which gives you the vantage point.
Yeah, you still don't want to get hit by Usyk, even though he's spinning or whatever, It's still a big guy fucking throwing punches at you. But I want to ask the ring size. How big is the ring gonna be for this Joshua fight? I'm expecting a small ass fucking ring.
Well, that's the thing, Bucho. That's what I'm talking. That's intangibles that it's going to boil down to this fight. It's going to boil down to stuff like that. That fight that Usyk fought Chisora, that ring was like a fucking baby crib. That was a small ass ring. You saw Usyk circling. He's not stupid. He understands that he's a heavyweight, but he's still outweighed. These guys are still looking to land a shot from a bigger guy. So he's trying to move. he's going to let these guys gas a little bit before he turns around and walks them into something for sure. But it's stuff like that. The ring size. I don't think Hearn would fuck with him. Either one of these guys. They're both his guys. Why would he fuck over either one of them with a gigantic or small ring?
And he has to stay moving too, because he wouldn't even want to get against the ropes. He's too smart for that. You know what
Certainly
I mean?
not
It's
early.
just even punches against the arms. You know what I mean? He's going to avoid that stuff. No, he's a talented kid. Curious to see what happens, but be honest with you, if I was Hearn, there's no way I would make that fight right now. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Hey, this could end up like Vladimir Klitschko against Corey Sanders. Also, I remember the ring for that fight was super small. It was extremely small, and Vladimir Klitschko was then I'm sure he was hoping that there was a bigger ring, because once he got hurt, he couldn't even escape, man. He was leaning on the ropes and shit. So imagine that happens with Joshua, man.
Well, it's 16. It's got to be between, if it's one of the sanctioned bodies, they're between, I think, 16 and 22 foot. So obviously 16's on the smaller side. You don't usually see rings that small in big venues. You usually see them between 18 and 22. But Usyk,
usually
probably, I would count on 20 if I was Usyk. But it's usually 18. I think the standard, like the most used, is 18. But I would just train. I would train at 18 if I was Usyk. That's the ring size. Because obviously you train on the smaller ring. The bigger ring's all the much better for you.
But Jimbo, when's the last time in a heavyweight fight? I mean, really, realistically speaking, that thing could be 22, 24, 18. Usually heavyweights are just in there kind of taking up the
real
middle
estate.
10 feet of it. I mean,
in actuality, the ring size is irrelevant to the most part. Believe it or not, what would be more worrisome if I was Usyk was padding, the thickness of the padding. You know what I mean? The more gushy it is, the softer it is, the more spring in it, the more you're going to tire somebody else. Harder to move. It's like running in sand. You feel me? The thinner the pad, the quicker you are on your feet.
That's right, man.
It's a fast ring, they used to call it.
Now, by the way, hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like, man. Really appreciate it if you guys do it. Yeah, just hit the like button, all right? Do as I say, please. Now, I was going to say, we were talking about what Usyk has to do to win. Now, what about Joshua, right? I think, obviously, he needs to work on that stamina of his, which is still suspect in my eyes. But also, he has to be active, because when he fought Joseph Parker, he was content with sticking that jab. The right hand wasn't quite getting there, and again, that's how I think he's gonna win against Usyk. I think he's just gonna land the jab more than anything else. I'm not saying he's gonna jab Usyk's face off. What I'm saying is he's gonna land it in a little bit easier fashion, than Usyk will, and that's gonna give him the decision. But because again, Parker is more of a loosey-goosey type fighter with that upper body movement, whereas Parker is more of a Tyson Fury type guy, whereas Usyk, he's don't get angry at me, Chief, but I think he's more like a prime Winky Wright. Remember Winky Wright in the 1990s? High guard, and he would move around the ring. He wasn't moving his head a lot. So that's what Usyk reminds me of a little bit. Do you guys think with that high guard?
He's Winky White. Yeah, it's hard to prepare for Usyk. No other heavyweight can give you a look like that. So it would be just so difficult to prepare to find a guy that could even give you work to even look like Usyk. And you're right about AJ and his gas tank, and especially when he exerts himself and goes for it. Like when he'd have to understand too not to chase him. You have to cut the ring off instead of chase him. Usyk could try to force him to chase him and displace and make him commit. And once he commits, that's when AJ seems to be the most vulnerable, in my opinion.
My opinion, he has to get off first. The person who gets off first consistently will control the pace of the fight. And if AJ sits back and lets Usyk control the tempo and the pace, it's not good. I think Precise, you was going to say something?
I think it was Pete or...
I think Anthony Joshua's got to be aggressive from the outside. Then when Usyk comes in, he's got to tighten up his core, bend the knees, and put a little spring on them uppercuts and put together some hard counters where he can really hurt Usyk coming in. And if you're Usyk, a guy that's constantly turning, I always thought this to myself. If you're like a Lomachenko and a Usyk and one of those Ukrainian fighters, you're always turning and turning. I would try to set a trap. As he's turning to the right, I would throw a left hook and catch him coming in where he's gonna run into my punch. Of course, you're not always gonna get away with that, but if you see him doing something, always continuously set him up for that. You might be able to land it here and there. And if you're not able to stop him, at least you stop from him continuing to turn the way and getting his way by turning that direction, because he knows that he's got a punch coming. That's gonna, like a trap.
Yeah.
That's gonna catch him coming that way.
If they're in that close, I'd worry more about him laying on me. Fucking Joshua, you know what I mean? That big upper body frame. If he has, he's got good sized delts, traps. I just lay on him every chance I get. Anytime they need to be clinched, I'd make sure the ref has to push me off him. Every chance I got, I'd be laying on him.
I brought that up earlier, Jimmy, and Precise made a good point. That's not Joshua's game. Like, you have to learn how to do that. That's not something you automatically just can do. You can't just go in and walk in on someone and lean on them and expect to win and expect not to get caught with anything on the inside that you don't see. I agree with you. That's a good strategy, but that's not Joshua's style. I could see him getting caught with uppercuts, trying to figure out how to do this, thinking his size.
I'm not saying use it as an attack, meaning get in there and jump. I'm saying every time, multiple times, no matter who it is, the ref has to get in and put in his hands. Okay, separate you, right? I'm talking about even then, say at the end of an exchange or whatever. Anytime there's a chance it has to be broken up. If I was Joshua, I'd go dead weight on him every time until he warned me he was going to take a point away. Because every time you put extra weight on those legs, it's going to help him further down the line.
Yeah, that's why I think that if Usyk tries to walk him down, he's going to put himself in a position where AJ is just going to lean on him. That's where it
he's so good with space, though. But he's so good with his time and space.
That's the thing,
he's not someone who smothers his shit.
And that's the thing. Like Gonzalo mentioned the body shots, which is on paper, that's what you're supposed to do. If you want to corral a guy, you shoot some hooks to his body. But if Joshua does that with Usyk, he opens himself up for some shots upstairs. And the thing about Joshua is, and he's never really corrected this mistake, he likes to put a lot of mustard on that right hand. Now that's good because it creates damage, but at the same time, if he misses, it leaves him exposed. That's how he got caught against White. Although that's also because he dropped his right, but it also cost him against Parker in a couple of instances, and against Klitschko and against Luis with that fucking leaning over. So exchanging it with a guy who's got quicker hands might not be the best. I think that's the best plan for AJ. Make Usyk go to him, make him uncomfortable. Because if Usyk if Joshua just lets him dance around the ring, he's still gonna get the decision. I think.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think Usyk's comfortable with that too. Is this you make Mayweather come to you? He's out of his game plan. You hunt Mayweather down. That's right what he wants you to do. Joshua tries to hunt Usyk down. Not a good idea because Usyk's going to move around that ring and might get tired. Okay, I'm going to back up, make Usyk come to me. That he's not uncomfortable.
You think so, man? I don't know, man. I mean, if he let's question. If he keeps Usyk at the end of that jab. Usyk, is he going to start throwing left hands to the body? Is he going to put those hands up and walk him down?
I don't think Usyk's going to have to cut the ring off, is the situation. So Joshua can move, but I don't think that Usyk's going to have to cut the ring off and get an angle to where he's going to be in the danger zone just because he's looking like the aggressor. I think he's going to be already using his jab, moving forward, keeping his... Remember, we keep talking about, every time we talk about a lefty and a righty, he's going to be winning that foot battle. His foot's going to be on the outside because that's where he's going to want it. And so as Joshua moves, and once he gets in stance, I don't see it being a problem.
It's like, I don't know, a right-hander, what's he pivot to the left? No, he pivots to the left. He throws the jab, right? If he's moving that direction, if he's moving that direction, Jesus. Usyk is he's a right hander. Okay, he's right. He pivots to the left. If I'm Joshua, I'm just gonna catch him going that direction with the hook. I'm just gonna try to time him to dissuade him from his boxing style from turning and turning. If you're turning, but you set him up to hit him as a hook as he's moving that direction, and you sweep his head going the other way, man, that's really gonna like tell.
I think you're swinging right over his head when you do that. I think you're swinging right over his head.
I mean, it's not a given. It's not a given.
Okay, so we're analyzing. We don't have the footage to analyze this, but we're talking mirror image. So at the very beginning, they're going to look at each other because Joshua's not going to come out. They're both going to look and see what openings they see on each other right away. It's what everybody does. And if there's any movement, it's going to be very little because when they see each other, it's not going to be anything unusual to Usyk. He's used to seeing right-handed fighters. Joshua's not. He's going to look for those openings unless he's on his toes on the bicycle right away, which nobody here believes he's going to do. So when that happens, it's going to be every time we do this fight analysis. I always say this: it's about the battle of the feet. And Usyk's going to win that right off the bat because he knows what he's doing with his feet. Joshua's not going to know what to do with Usyk's feet. He's just not. It's not his game plan. It's not his style because he's never had to do it before that I know of. And so Usyk is going to, if he wants to, already have his lead foot on the outside. That hook's going to be able to come from an area that Joshua's not going to be able to see it. He can step inside that jab by being a left-hander. He's got the moves to do this stuff. Now, is he going to be able to? Joshua's going to have to do something to negate that. So what is it? If it's not going to necessarily be the jab. If it's from the hook, if he's trying to win the battle of the feet and his foot's not on the outside, his hook's going to be irrelevant because Usyk's going to see it. Joshua's foot's going to have to be on the outside to try and throw that hook to where Usyk can't see it. If it's not, it won't matter because Usyk's going to see it coming. He'll be able to parry it and counter it.
Well, yeah, it's like this, like that battle with the feet. Obviously, Usyk is more nimble. He displaces himself better. Joshua is a little bit more clunkier. He has to set himself up, to unleash that those heavy punches. But okay, it's not like all or nothing. Most likely, Usyk will win that terrain, that battle, within the feet most of the time. But it's not like he's always gonna win. They're gonna catch each other with their best shots. Who can deal with the if Joshua was catching Usyk less because Usyk's the better boxer, will Usyk be able to withstand those fewer combinations but nonetheless powerful combinations from Joshua? And will Joshua be able to deal with Usyk's activity as he's winning the foot battle?
Will it be combination?
It's not like all or nothing. He's gonna win the foot battle most of the time. But sometimes he's going to set himself, because Joshua's going to, set him up for a trap where he's going to get caught. He's going to be tested.
Is Joshua going to set him up for a trap? Has he shown the ability to really be able to set traps?
I mean, he's a heavyweight champion. Come on. You don't think he's going to get a shot?
You're talking a ring IQ. It doesn't matter what title you're holding. You're talking ring IQ. He hasn't shown the ability to move and set people up with traps in his career.
Has Anthony Joshua, has an opponent ever scapegoated while fighting him without getting hit at least once or more than once?
But is he going to be on balance to be able to land the shots? If Usyk's dictating the pace of the movement, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Whether he's imbalanced or not, Usyk's going to get touched. Can we agree on that?
I didn't say he wouldn't. That never left my mouth. But you're making it sound like just because Joshua hits him, it's going to hurt because he's because he's a heavyweight. And that's not the case here. If Usyk's got the foot battle, if he's got the balance, if he's on the outside, if his lead, everything, hook, jab, and foot are on the outside, Joshua's going to have to rely on only the right hand. The jab's not going to land very well, he's going to see it coming. The hook's not going to land very well, he's going to see it coming. He's going to have to rely on only the right hand. And then he's going to have to punch across the grain to get to it because Usyk's going to be on the outside. And so this mythical one punch going across the grain that Joshua's never shown he can do, and mind you, most people have shown they can't do, because you're punching all the way across your body, your hips can't even open up to that shot to put any power behind it. Now, this is all theoretical, hypothetical, but based off of what I know about boxing from being a lefty myself, this is how Usyk's not going to get hurt.
Yeah, I'm a lefty as well. I was going to say something. How many KOs does Anthony Joshua have? How many people has he dropped?
Oh, he's dropped.
How many people have actually gone the distance against him? Ruiz the second time, and maybe Parker, right? So the evidence is there that the guy can hit hard. In a perfect world, yeah, if Usyk does everything right, like you said, He does have the skill. Yeah, then when have we seen that from Joshua? I can't really answer that. But what I'm saying, this is a fight, dude. If look, Usyk or a Joshua, if they were to fight a common man in the street, they can get away with everything that they do, no problem. They would piece another person up so easily. But the thing is that these guys don't lack. It's not that they lack the ability to do what they do. It's because sometimes when you're facing another guy that's skilled, there's punches coming back the other way that you might not want to go full throttle. It's not that Anthony Joshua doesn't have a great offense. No, he just got to be wary about what's coming back. And the same thing goes for Usyk. But in some point in the fight, a fight is going to have to break out, where somebody's going to have to give it their all. That's all I'm saying, and this is what they train for.
Can you guys hear me?
Boxers.
I can now.
Can you guys hear me?
Hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you better now, Precise. I could barely hear you before, brother.
I don't know what was going on, but I just wanted to, because BDA made a point about AJ's jab, and my question is, who has he kept at the end of his jab? Like, where? I do agree that it's a good fast punch that if he lands can do damage, but like, has AJ ever busted anybody up with his jab? Has he ever had to deal with a target that didn't just stand in front of him and showed a good jab? Who does he show a good jab against? Stiffs. They just stand in front of him and do nothing. Did he show? You guys think he showed a good jab against Andy Ruiz? Like, we could sit here and criticize Usyk for the Chisora performance. Okay, fair enough. We could criticize him, I'm not saying us, but people, for the Witherspoon performance. But AJ's performance against Fat Andy in the second fight was horrendous. It was a terrible, terrible performance. I know fanboys will bloviate about how great he boxed. No, he didn't. He ran around the ring, and he would set sometimes, pick with the jab, and maybe land 1 or 2 power punches per round on a guy that was just a statue. So, yeah, in theory, he should try to keep Usyk at the end of his jab. I just don't think he's going to be very successful at that. Just my opinion.
Well, in that regard, he doesn't have to bust him up with the jab, because he just has to land a couple of jabs here and there, prevent Usyk from looking good, and he's going to get the decision. That's the benefit he's got going to this fight. Now, the other thing is Chisora's jab was landing more often than Usyk wanted to in that fight. You could tell Usyk was surprised, like, what the fuck, this fat fuck's getting me with the jab. That's not supposed to happen. So that's an X factor for me right there. I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. In regards to what Gonzalo and Chief were saying about the power, I understand the Chief's point, which is that, unless I'm wrong, Usyk is going to be moving with his feet, fighting the fight with his feet. That's 50% of the fight right there. And I think he's saying that Joshua's not going to be on balance to be able to hit him with anything hard. Gonzalo's point is he doesn't have to be on balance. The guy's 250-something plus pounds. His power, whether he hits him off balance or not, it's going to hurt. So we're seeing.
Well, BDA, can I just say something really fast?
Yes,
I'll be quick about it. Yeah, I agree with Boxing Chief that Usyk will win that battle, but I'm saying at some point in time, it's not all or nothing. Joshua will be on balance to at least land a shot here and there. That's all I'm saying. It's not like he's always going to be completely out of balance. He might be out of balance 70, 80% of the time, 90, but at least at some point in the fight, he's gonna be able to land one good shot or two. Will that make some type of difference? We don't know.
But he has power. Has he ever shown the fact that he can ice someone of a world-class caliber and turn the fight completely around with one shot? He didn't do it against Ruiz in the first fight, and he hit Ruiz several times after he got dropped. And that's, as Precise keeps saying, that's Fat Andy Ruiz. This is a much better fighter, a much talented fighter, a much better chin, as far as we can tell, than Andy. He's world-class levels above Ruiz in multiple facets. Multiple facets. I'm one of the guys on the panel that keeps saying that Ruiz is just overrated because the only thing he did was catch a Joshua that didn't want to fight that night. He hasn't shown anything in his career to be anything special, of anything rewarding praise other than one night against a guy that was ill-prepared.
I get that, but I'm the type of guy, if you're Anthony Joshua, and I mean, he got the gold medal, but then he's a unified heavyweight champion, that counts a lot for me. Whether he has showed it, and I have to go back and watch the entirety of his resume, all his fights, to really understand what he has or hasn't done. No, but the fact that he's the champion, he's the best fighter in the world in his heavyweight, he got the belts. That just gives credence that he can do at least something right, and that he can land a punch at some point in time, by being on balance. I'm not saying that all the time, because Usyk's a left-footed and he's gonna be left-handed. I mean, and he's gonna be on the move. But I think that he can do it at least at some point.
Can you guys, can some of you guys tell me now? Because I don't study AJ, I haven't, so I don't know him like probably a lot of you guys do. But from what I can remember, again, maybe I'm wrong. I think one of his fatal flaws is he doesn't feint. I don't remember seeing him feint. And as you guys know, one of the things that makes Lomachenko so great is his feints, because a feint. What if somebody buys a feint? What that tells you is what they were planning on doing.
Mm-hmm.
You can, by making them bite the feint, that kind of tells you if they were planning on. You'll see by their movement if they were planning on countering you. And if you're smart enough, which Usyk is, he's the type of dude he'll make you bite 2 or 3 rounds at feints, and he'll say, okay, so that's what this dude does. This is what he's going to expect to do. This is what I expect him to do, and then he'll see which way he tends to go. Just do feints. Good fighters will learn more about you from feigning than they will from an exchange.
Jimmy, you're right. Well, kind of. AJ does feint, but his feint game is sea level. There's nothing really there. And on the other hand, Usyk's feints, they're gonna give him fits. No less than Fury's feint did to Deontay Wilder.
Wow.
And to answer Gonzalo's point, I agree. Joshua will be able to land a punch here and there, which is why I'm picking Usyk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to be the here and there. It may not be enough. And I'm watching the highlights of the Ruiz fight, and I'm noticing that his feints are mainly measures. He measures. He sits there and he hangs his left out there. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Why is not everyone, but why are so many people acting like Usyk cannot take a single punch or the fight is over? So on the one hand, I'm hearing about how Chisora hit him, Witherspoon was able to hit him, right? Okay, great. So all these heavyweights are hitting him, and he's not getting hurt. So why should I believe that the guy that's been knocked out and hurt multiple times is going to knock out the guy that I've never seen hurt before? Like, that doesn't make any sense. What is this based off of? 7-pound difference?
I don't know.
Look at Holyfield.
For the record, you're also talking about hurt multiple times, amateur and pro, correct?
I guess. But
nice pick, Bucho.
What the fuck was I gonna say? Yeah, Holyfield. Moving up. Yes, is Usyk smaller? Is Usyk smaller? Of course, he was a cruiserweight. But so what? So you had Holyfield, who was a cruiserweight, and fucking look, he made his name in the heavy division later on, and he took a lot of punches. So the chin's there. I don't know why people are questioning it at this point.
Holyfield's a little hard though. Because an example, because his best friend was Lee Haney.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
And I kind of agree. You know what? And maybe Usyk should be favored. He should. And maybe the here and there is not enough to knock out Usyk, who has not showed to have a glass chin. But if there was ever a threat in the heavyweight division, a guy that can punch hard with the 2 hands, aside from the Wilder right hand, it has to be Joshua, right? It has to be.
Yeah, look, Joshua hits pretty hard, but I don't think he's taking Usyk out with one shot, nor do I think he's taking him out unless Usyk sort of gets desperate or something, starts jumping in. But even, don't forget, Usyk, like we were talking, the mentality is going to play a factor here in how hard or how easy it is for Joshua, because one thing we've overlooked, we talked about how he's got that fighting spirit. What did you guys call it? The legacy. Yeah, the legacy. Remember, he was training with Joey Joyce in that fight. They had that semi-amateur, semi-pro.
Oh yeah,
he will get down.
They had weird gloves.
Neither of them are afraid to get down there and go. Neither of them are afraid to bang. I'm telling you, this is I think Precise said it earlier, unless I was just fucking hallucinating. But if you're looking at first things first, the class of the fighters, styles make fights, but also they got to be equally matched in terms of ring IQ and preparation. Neither of these guys got a blueprint, a magic key to the other one. So it's not like one punch from AJ has always got to land and Usyk just needs to win on points, because neither of them fight like that. AJ is vulnerable when he goes for it, but then he took an uppercut from Klitschko and then came back the next round and almost fucking decapitated him. It's like, it's a 50-50 fight. That's why Jay and Gonzalo were playing all this out in their heads and what if this and hooking back over and pivoting back over. It's enough to, it's a goddamn 50-50 fight. It's down to intangibles.
Well, you know
it's
what,
like,
Pete? Let's see if it happens, right?
Hey, if
Well, it's
Usyk
not
gets
gonna.
dropped, just a knockdown, that's it, man. AJ wins the decision.
Just one knockdown.
I don't think so, man. I don't think this is going to be running away. I think he's doing. He moves for a purpose, bro. His purpose in that Chisora fight was to turn around and put one on Chisora, to walk him into one. I mean, he will fucking. He's looking to bang. He's not looking to run away with a decision. That's one. Two. AJ's issues in terms of having a jab. Probably his best jabbing performance was his second Ruiz fight. It was the most boring. He did his best to just control Ruiz the whole night. But like Precise brought up, in other words, he's not jabbing Ruiz. He's jabbing more like a Povetkin or a I can't remember the short black guy's name that he fought, older guy. Anyway, the shorter fighters, they get underneath his jab. They get inside. Yeah. It's like, it's not as if he's just going to be jabbing a stationary Ruiz. This is not that. Usyk's not going to be there for that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. My head's spinning. This is unbelievable. I'm going
But
down
also,
to the right fight. I'm taking the right guy. Usyk.
Go ahead, Bucho.
Hey, what if Usyk like all of a sudden like he's boxing from the outside and for some reason he's timid. He doesn't really let his hands go.
He's losing.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
If that happens, I'd be like, yeah, what the fuck, man? Did you just like did they talk to you on the side? Hey, extra $5 million on top of your 10 or whatever?
No, but he could actually legitimately maybe.
Well, yeah, he gets cracked. If he gets cracked, yeah, then
yeah, but
I've never seen him do it. I've never seen him do it. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Well, somebody can make the argument. Somebody can make the argument he's never fought that like a heavyweight champion. In this case, the unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua.
Agree. Look, he never fought a heavyweight champion like Anthony Joshua, but he's fought big guys before. What's the guy's name? The one that fucking he's always called the one that BDA's him Joy.
No, I didn't call him Joey. I call him Joe today. I called him
Joey. Yeah, because he was banging with that guy. He was banging with Joey. But then
you know something? I wonder if he thought to himself, "I can't back up from this dude." Is he one of those type of fighters? You get what I'm saying? That's their temperament. It's like I can't do that. Can't back up against them.
Yeah, I
think Gassiev he could. Gassiev looked so flat-footed.
He's looking to see what kind of power the other guy's got. As soon as he realizes that, all right, there's not enough sting for me to worry about getting in there. He wants to get in there, and that's another reason why. Listen, the heavyweight division is what 5 guys deep, 6 guys deep tops. I mean, he'll get this fight. This fight will happen. He should be, mandatory or next or whatever you want to call it. He should be on deck for a big fight. I don't give a shit if he came from the cruiserweights. He's a heavyweight. He can get in there and give him all. The fact that we're talking like this, we ain't talking about Herkovic like this or fucking, Trent.
Yeah.
Charles Martin like this. Fuck that. This is legit heavyweight. This and AJ does need to stay active. He's chomping at the bit. That's why you saw in the last fight. AJ seemed like he's just like restless. He wants the next fight. Like, he's chomping at the bit. The Saudi thing is what really held it up. It's a big site fee in there. Aram got tired of waiting. Hearn couldn't deliver it in time, and Aram moved on with this Wilder and Fury third fight.
That's bullshit. That is such bullshit.
Which part?
The point where you said that Aram was waiting on Eddie Hearn. Dude, they knew that.
No, he wasn't waiting. He never had faith in that site fee in that fight at all. He never had confidence that he was going to make that fight. You heard Hearn at in the week of the Canelo Saunders fight saying, "I don't know, Bob Arum's he's hot, he's cold, he's pissed off at me, he loves me. I don't know." He was making remarks as if he was doing the work. He had the relationship with these guys. He was trying to put this thing together. But for whatever reason, Arum didn't fall ass backwards or get mandated into this third fight. Fury wants to stay busy. He's ready to go. They're going to make another, great payday over there with that third fight.
Yeah, with Fury getting 60% of the pot, he probably said, "Look, man, I'll take this fight as a warm-up fight." We know Fury doesn't like taking fucking back-to-back fights where it's like, it's challenging. That's not his thing. It's never been his thing.
These are long breaks in between though, man. He's fine. He shit.
Yeah, but he's like when he was supposed to fight Vladimir Klitschko again, he's like, depression, and my ass hurts, my belly's big, everything bothered him.
He sounds like a woman who's menstruating or something. My ass hurts.
Yeah, everything was bothering him when it came time to fight Vladimir Klitschko in a rematch.
You know what though? I will say this though, man. If this fight doesn't happen, if Joshua all of a sudden says, you know what, I don't want, let me fight Luis Ortiz, let me fight White the second time, let me fight what's the other guy? Oh, Ruiz. They were talking about maybe he would fight not Ruiz, sorry. There was a third guy. Anyway, if he doesn't fight Usyk, how much shit do you guys expect to give him?
I mean, the shit that he deserves, right? Like he's gonna get a lot, right? But I think it's fitting. So, okay, let's say he keeps his belt and he willingly pays step aside money to Usyk, something like, big money, $5 million,
big money,
$5 to $10 million. Are you going to really look at him going into undisputed? Let's say he takes a stay busy fight against a guy like Dillian White or Andy Ruiz. Are you going to look at this guy as a serious, champion? Going into the Fury fight when he ducked his mandatory, he paid money to keep his belt. I don't know, man. I'm not going to look at him the same after that. I'm just not going to look at him as the same type of guy, going in had he went in there and, took care of his obligation and won, right? Let's say he beats Usyk.
Every time you look at his head, you're going to see a duck, instead of the Joshua head.
Gonzalo with the singular.
Let me ask y'all a question, right? Let me ask you a question. Obviously, what should happen here in a normal situation, Wilder loses to Fury. Wilder goes and tunes up, fucking get sharpen up. You're gonna come back to fight a nobody, a tune-up fight. You're not even ready to come back. You just got your ass fucking beat in for 7 rounds, right? Fury now AJ. In a normal situation, Madison Square Garden, MGM Grand, a normal side fee, a normal size side fee. All right, then there's a case for line but the size of the site fee you're talking about, and I know Usyk is a legacy fighter. The fucking guy wants to fight. It's not about money, but it is about money ultimately. It's got to be about money a little bit in terms of the rest of his life. It's his job, right? So if he's going to get a step aside purse that's like a step aside fee that's like fucking probably bigger than he'd make, more money than he'd make actually fighting Joshua, if you can wrap your head around that, then yeah, he's willing to take that and just take the winner. Which if Fury wins against Wilder, all right, then Fury's set to fight AJ. And Usyk makes money. Now, if Fury loses against Wilder, well then yeah, the next fight is AJ and Usyk. You see that? So Hearn is just simply, he might set this fight, he might set this date, but it's damn sure going to be way out for enough time for Fury to get recovered after this Wilder fight, and for Usyk to step aside. In other words, if you see, and tell the WBO, listen, we'll drop that belt before we get mandated into a first bid. He's talking over the table. In other words, you don't want to strip AJ. We don't want you to strip AJ. Don't disturb this fucking fight we're trying to make with Fury. Don't disturb that. You want a piece of the purse, the site fee for a sanctioning fee for this, or what? No one's going to strip anybody, and no one's going to go to purse bid.
I would imagine he would, if he did do that, he'd want it in writing from both parties. Whoever wins, I get first shot.
Of course.
And then it would also make it much more lucrative for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still
so if you're Hearn and AJ wins, then that's your next fight. There it is. It's boom. It's right there. The guy's waiting. He's got more time than any of these Fury, Wilder, or AJ.
Pete, you're cutting off there. But yeah, I mean, point taken, Pete. Point taken. There is a bit of a master plan here and a lot of what ifs. What if Wilder beats Fury? Bucho just posted earlier that Fury is a 2-1 favorite. Very close odds. The odds makers are not counting Usyk out on this one. Now, the odds could widen as the fight gets closer, or they could stay tight the way they are right now. That's how I like them. Nice.
What'd you say? Usyk's 2-1. Why? The Fury fight's made. I mean, Usyk fight's made with Joshua.
Well, I don't know why. That's what Bucho. Hold on, let me rewind here. See if I can.
Oh, I was just curious. I thought maybe I misunderstood what you said. I thought you said
he means 2-1. He means 2-1 Fury over Wilder.
Oh, Fury, is that what okay, Fury Wilder. I thought you were talking about Usyk-Joshua. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Bucho, did I misread that or did I misread it rather?
I just came back. Are you talking about the odds?
Yeah. What odds did you post?
Joshua, Usyk is a 2-1 underdog. So you would double your money if Usyk wins.
Yeah, then that's a bet.
And Joshua is under 275.
So the odds makers,
yeah,
the odds makers are seeing something here. Is what's going on, right?
Hey,
well, they have Joshua as almost a 3-1 favorite. So
you want to hear a funny thing about odds? Just to put in perspective how lopsided PBC fights are. Do you know when Plant fought Truex?
Oh,
if you were to bet on Plant to win, right? You had to bet. You had to bet $200,000 to win $5,700.
To bet on what?
$200,000 to make $5,000. That's how lopsided those fucking odds were.
You know, I usually.
Hey, listen, man. 3-1 Usyk. Usyk being a 3-1 dog is way too wide. You got to bet Usyk. That line's probably going to move all over the goddamn place as that fight gets closer, if it gets closer.
Oh, it would even
That's
off.
Too wide,
It'll eat off. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Put it this way: if it was 3-1 against Usyk, that's a sucker bet not to take Usyk. Unless, well, it depends on if you bet in the house or not. But if you have money, some funky money or funny money to blow, I'd take that bet in a second on Usyk just because of the odds, 3-1.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I don't consider him a 3-1 underdog.
They're 2-1 for Usyk. 2-1.
Oh, see, it moved already. See, it closed up.
No, it was 3-1. Well, I'm
no. Bucho said 2-1 from the get-go. It wasn't 3-1.
Yeah, 2-1.
Okay, I don't know why I heard 3-1. Sorry.
They'll change later, obviously.
You're a degenerate gambler.
That fight would be what, in August? Let me check.
Late July, early August, perhaps.
December.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, I just wanted to mention, I'm sharing the screen here with you guys. When you mentioned Plant there, Jimmy. I always give guy props, or most of the time, when he tries to stop somebody. But when Caleb Plant tried to stop Truex, it just look at this. I can just hear him going as he's trying to stop him. Look at that. The fuck is that? That's a guy that's never tried to stop somebody with a combination. That's one shot at a time right there from the Floyd Mayweather.
Because he's afraid to plant his feet. He's afraid to get in a position to stop somebody. Because when you're in a position to stop somebody, you're in a position to be stopped.
That's
and
right.
I think he doesn't have confidence in his chin. And I think he wants that. Put it this way: anybody who has even the slightest confidence in his abilities would take that fight for $8 million. The fact that he's saying that Saunders taking $8 million was a sucker, like Hearn took advantage of him. It's like, dude, you've never made more than $750,000 was your highest payday, and now $8 million is you getting taken advantage of. Yeah, okay.
Sounds like somebody else. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like somebody else that's not a
catch out.
Sounds like, yeah. Well, by the way, shout out to Steven Schneider for his contribution with the super chat. He didn't leave a message, but shout out to Steven. And shout out to Steve Brown, who says, Hearn trying to figure out how to dodge Usyk the fight without it looking like a full-blown duck. Expect creative left field reasons next week. Yeah, what are some of the creative reasons?
Yeah, what happens is we have to, think about things. And we're thinking the right way. Maybe we make it for 2025. We'll fight Usyk.
You know, one thing you have to
understand. He should come straight out and say, Mike, what do you think, I'm a fucking asshole? Why would I make that fight?
I want to make the fight. I want to make the fight.
Yeah, he should come out and
He's going to run out of ideas. He's just going to say, you know what, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Fuck Usyk.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
Put it this way, if you were me I would ask them, if you were me, would you make that fight? Like, if you were me and you had an opportunity for your fighter to make $150 million in what could quite possibly be the biggest fight with since Mayweather-Pacquiao, and it could be all blown up over a fight that only the hardcore people are talking about. I mean, anybody with the fucking IQ of a fire hydrant would know that's the way to go. It's so much better if he starts backpedaling and tries to say it's a duck. Yeah, no, this isn't a duck. It's a put off for the time being.
You know what, man?
And Usyk's happy to do it too. That's it. If they get paid $150 fucking million for a site fee, you better goddamn believe Usyk's getting. I don't want to talk about flat rates, $5 million and $2 million and $3 million, career high paydays. You give me 2.5 points out of each one of those purses right there.
Hey guys,
if y'all don't want to pay it, figure it out amongst yourselves. But that's the fucking pipe. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, why do you guys think that fucking Fury suddenly moved to the United States after the Wilder fight? Why do you think that is? Why do you think he has residency now in the United States?
California?
Because England has the highest fucking capital gains tax. It's insane. Why do you think the Beatles, U2, everybody, even the guys who still live over there, make sure they have a United States address because that's where they put everything through their LLC. He doesn't want to get.
Yeah, we lost Jimmy. Hey,
Jimmy got swallowed up by the Discord.
But if you don't pay your taxes, who's gonna build the roads?
MI6 got to fucking Jimmy, man. By the way, I wanted to say, didn't Ringo start too? I think all his money is in. Where was it that Triple G used to fight? Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo.
Yeah, I think.
How about
Ringo.
that? Like in front of like 100 people in tuxedos that don't even give a fuck about the fight. They're like chit chatting with each other.
Yeah, chit chatting. And by the way, I also wanted to moving a little bit away from the Usyk thing real quick. I'm not going to talk about the Mayweather fight, but I just found it interesting how there was these guys that were interviewing Floyd this Thursday for the press conference. These guys, they're wearing like bathrobes, like Billy Joe Saunders and Masvidal. It's a big joke. And so they're interviewing Floyd, right? And these guys are trying to kiss ass as much as possible. This guy in yellow inadvertently lets it slip out that, Floyd, a lot of people criticized you for not fighting the best, or for avoiding certain fighters. And then he was going to segue onto something else. He was just a launching pad for another question. Mayweather, his whole smiles and everything, that's goofy smile he's got. All of a sudden, his demeanor turns. Hold on. Who didn't I fight? Who didn't I fight? So the guy goes, they start getting uncomfortable. They're trying to move on. Mayweather won't let it go. Then all of a sudden, the guy in yellow finally goes, Margarito. And then Mayweather goes, okay, hold on. The guy that cheated. The guy that you want me to fight a cheater. Okay, you're behind that guy. Who else? And this guy's trying to move away. Finally, the guy's had enough.
Paul Williams.
And he goes, Paul Williams. And Mayweather just shrugs his shoulder, and the co-host, the guy in black, just goes. But anyway, I think the point is, and they just segued onto something else. But it was funny how he could have.
That guy's a despicable fuck.
You reach a low point when you have to like fucking take shit from this little rugrat Mayweather.
You know what I would have done? Recognize you mentioned, or you or Jimmy mentioned doubling down. If I would have been Mayweather, look, I got $100 million in the bank. I fought, Hall of Famer and everything. I would have just said, I would just double down too and said, look, okay, I didn't beat anybody. That's why I'm $1 million now. Next question, make it count, fatty. That's what I would have done. But instead, he got out of the fence.
$100 million in the bank, man.
Be creative. You're gonna be an asshole. You'll be an asshole. Be a creative asshole.
Mayweather's actually gone to bat against people interviewing before and has come on the losing end, so it's probably why he doesn't take that route, because he's tried it before and people made asses out of him.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but let me say something. I don't take this as taking shit off of Floyd. I think Floyd's having to be talked to by a guy in a bathrobe here. It'd be funny to feed them questions like, listen, Floyd's being brought in. He might win this fight. He probably will, whatever the fuck. But he's the fucking B-side in this fight. He's being brought in for a YouTuber.
A B-side?
In other words,
you think he's the B-side?
He's taking all the shit they want to give him. They can ask him whatever the fuck they want, and he don't have no $100 million in the bank. BDA. I'm sorry, I don't know for sure, but he's fighting this fight because he needs to get paid.
That's true. That's true. You are right. You're absolutely right. I made a mistake there. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. Compared to Logan, he kept using that AKA insult that people have in the community where they go, well, I don't know who you are. I've never heard of you. You come on. Okay, maybe he's never heard of this Paul kid. I didn't hear of him either. I hadn't heard of him either before he actually started getting into boxing. But that doesn't mean he's not well known. A bunch of youngins out there, Zoomers, know who the guy is. I'm pretty sure more people know who Paul is than they do Mayweather. So you're right. That's a good point. Mayweather is actually the B-side coming in here. That's a good point.
In one of the Reddit lines, that was on Reddit, they listed names. They said, yeah, Floyd's gone from Floyd to Pretty Boy to the Money Man to dodging the tax man.
Oh, come on now. But I did watch a little bit of that.
That's why he's fighting.
Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you something. Is money in a strip club, is that a safe investment or?
Yes, always is. It's a money maker. It's not going to fucking cover his nut. I mean, dude, 2 years ago, he took one. He always does once a year. He takes a picture of the fleet of his cars, right? Always, down in he has a, temperature controlled area. He puts all his cars. It's crazy. You look at his cars 2 years ago, $2 million car, $3 million car, multiple $1 million cars. The one he just showed the other day, his latest, wasn't one car, even $1 million. So you see it. No more planes in his pictures. I'm just saying, he might break out a decal and put it on a rental now and then on a plane if he's doing a promotion. He's still because he's still liquid. He pays ridiculous taxes. He's still he had a fight think about it, guys. He had to fight McGregor to pay for the Pacquiao taxes. He owed $33 million. He had to get an injunction. He had to go to court to keep the fucking taxman from putting padlocks on his shit and hauling it away.
Jimmy,
that
was the Pacquiao and the Mosley fight. He didn't finish his taxes on the Mosley fight either.
Oh, it's always, even Pacquiao, they all do it, especially when they get those big taxes. It's hard to hand all that cash over.
No, I
but
get
he's
that.
Been doing this, it's been a long.
It was for multiple fights that he had to do that for. It wasn't just the Pacquiao fight. So
they tied it all in, plus penalties too. And that's the thing, when they start occurring those penalties, man, you're fucking done. But the point being, do you know how? It's not like they say, okay, hey, dude, you owe some taxes, and then you get one more fucking notice, and then the armed IRS agents are at your house looking to take cars. That happens over a period of time. That's you've already been to court. They've given you dates. You've blown them off. He needed that fight. If he was screwed. But my point being, that nut doesn't go away. Those capital gains taxes don't go away. And when the thing is, when he shows jewelry, we don't think about it when someone a customer buying a watch that's worth more than $50,000, you don't realize you pay capital unless you're buying shit fucking on the down low and off the books. But anything you buy in the books that's capital gains. It gets deferred. That gets deferred. He's not paying it on the spot. It all gets tied in, and he's not liquid. He's got all that cash. I mean, what investments does he really have? He has no sponsorship. So carrying all those.
Wrong. He's got a sponsorship. It's Hair Club for Men.
No, come on, man. Oh, geez,
Jimmy, I'm gonna tell you this.
Can I ask you a question?
Those cars if you own them free and clear, Jimmy. If you rent the cars and then they don't come take them ever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you lease.
If you have a car,
but you could have been doing that, Jimmy. Didn't you say he was leasing those planes through his LLC?
Well, yes, he was. Those are most smart people will lease. In fact, there's companies that actually rent planes. That's what they do. They rent fleet of planes. Those
your keywords right there.
The cars he did buy, though, dude. This was in the paper. I mean, actually, there were a story about this on the guy. He does great work. He does a lot of undercover stuff. But that Italian car, for instance, the most expensive car Floyd ever made, he overpaid for it too. I think he bought like $4.6 million. 12 months later, he sold it for $2.5. So he lost $2 million on that car. So he was obviously forced to liquidate the thing. But that's how this kid lives, shucks and jives.
I was wondering if you have a car and that you answered it. If it's owned by Mayweather, just because it was owned by Mayweather, would people pay more money for it, or would it still lose?
No. Because the type of people who are buying those cars, dude, you know what I mean? Country club, wealthy dudes, they don't give a fuck. If you know what I mean, they're in the position that Mayweather wants to be in. See, that's the problem. When you become, you got $500 million, but you're still going to hang around with knuckleheads who are making $40,000 a year. It's not like he's being accepted by the wealthy people. He's not investing in his community. He's too busy because he's so insecure. He's buying things to let everybody know that he's just listen. Anytime you want to see somebody's character, watch how they treat their bodyguards.
Hey,
and he treats bodyguards like something he steps in.
Jimmy, imagine you buy Mayweather. Imagine you buy Mayweather's car, and you open the door to the back seat. There's women's blood all over the back seat. It's like, what the fuck? I didn't pay for this shit. Come on.
That's funny.
Another note.
What does it say about BDA that he's always groping his bodyguards? I don't think that's right. I don't know what to make of that. I will say this though, with regard to the money, the particulars, who knows? But hey, look, man, any of these guys that get paid, oh my God, I can't believe the numbers you hear about. Honestly, man, they still got another fucking 40 years of life to live, and they're not like staying in a 2-2 apartment while they're making this money. So they make it and they spend it. That's part of life, you know what I mean? You can't just...
He lives in a $12 million townhouse. Think about what the taxes on that fucking thing is. Think about what his monthly nut is. His daughter's lawyer, he had to put up all that cash.
And anytime he's paid, those checks are made out to Mayweather Promotions. So who else is on that? Leonard Ellerby, his father, his bodyguards, his pilots. All these people are played.
Family, yeah. Right?
So and those cuts are also his promotional fee. They're not what he made out of it. It's his promotional cut because he represents himself. So when he gets $24 million to fight Victor Ortiz back in the day, that's not what he made because he made that much more than the rest of them. That was his promotional end of the whole thing. That's his promotional end plus his paycheck. So all that money. And all his fans don't know how to think a single bit of common sense past the number they see and think he gets to keep all of it. Exactly. They don't think any of it's taxed. They don't think any of it's, the tax is only like, blah, blah, blah. They don't do any math. If you just do the math on
right off the top.
If you just say it's 30. Let's go ahead and say 30 down towards the low people, okay? If you do the math alone from his 2 fights with McGregor and Pacquiao, first of all, there's not a single record of him making over $300 million against Pacquiao. You add in the Berto fight, yes, but a Pacquiao alone, the highest I saw was $275. So that's a $25 million exaggeration he made, which he makes often with his paychecks. But let's go ahead and say $600 million between the two. We're saying 30% off the top. I don't know what that is, but it's a buttload of money. But then you got another jet. You got 2 more jets, and you got a yacht if he actually paid for them versus leasing them. Those jets used are $60 million a piece. $60 million for a used one. You know he doesn't get a used low-grade one, so he's got the bells and whistles. That's $400 million out the door for all 3 things right there. He's just blowing the entire
He was leasing the planes. It was on his LLC.
Gotcha.
Somebody printed up his LLC, so he was definitely leasing the planes, which is that's just stupid to buy a plane because of the upkeep and millions of dollars, dude. $5 million for a fucking like the one he flew around in. That one was like $11 million. It wasn't even one of the smaller ones. The one he used was actually one of the nicer. It was a corporate private plane. But the thing is, listen, anybody wants to know if anybody's anyways, with fight is true. Also, just know this: anywhere in the United States, if they were paid in the United States, it's 50%. That's non-negotiable. You make that kind of money, it's 50% capital gains. Bang! You're in a 50% tax bracket when you get paid all at once. That's why fighters will defer. Heyman defers a lot of his guys' payments. But if anybody wants to know, anybody wants to debate whether Mayweather needs this, he's doing this because he needs the money. Okay, all you got to answer him is this: he's fighting a fucking YouTuber. Didn't I say on this show 3 years ago, or when I first started calling, they first started talking about McGregor, I said, this is nothing. It'll get worse. It'll get worse. The people he fights, it'll become all right, put it this way, fucking Haymanites, another fucking hit right in the head. He put out a tweet of him fighting Tex Kwon from fucking Napoleon Dynamite. And it's like laughable, but it's not far from the truth. This will go into crazy levels of circus, because it's the only thing he can do to generate money.
After he beats this one, he's going to fight the brother who probably will beat Tyron Woodley in a boxing match that they've already got set up. So yeah, it's never going to end. Next up, he's going to fight that woman that sells her bathwater on OnlyFans. That's what I'm expecting. But listen, fellas, I think we're going to cut it short here today.
BDA.
Yeah,
BDA, why do you think he'll beat Tyron Woodley, though? Because of the size or what? Why?
Tyron Woods is not that great a boxer, man. He's got a good right hand, but he's not.
Isn't his like honorary uncle or godfather something, an anti-aging doctor? What happened to that guy? Fucking see, you see Mayweather's hair? Looks like the surface of the moon.
Oh, jeez. I mean, it's
He looks like he's 80 years old.
I was the one that pointed out that was a hair plant. Trust me, bro.
Yeah, recognizes all over the boxing hair
Did you see
pieces.
the Canelo tweet?
I used to be a barber, man.
Well, hold on. Yeah, recognize when he was talking about that the hair. He was like, "We're through the looking glass here, people," and he had a fucking what the fuck is this? Okay, Jimmy's sending me a tweet. He says, "Most intense face-off I've ever seen." This is a tweet from Elena Ellerby. Most intense face I've ever seen Sunday. You don't want to miss Mayweather versus Paul. It will be nothing but fireworks. I think he could have taken away the butt fireworks so that it will be nothing. That's
and he's getting absolutely trounced. You got to read the fucking comments. People just putting up laughing emojis. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's the same tactics he does promoting fucking Giovanni Davis. It's just all smoke and mirrors and bullshit. They don't give a fuck about legacy. He's the opposite of Usyk. Like, this is the fucking circus. I don't give a fuck if this kid has 30 pounds on him.
People are going to say, why are you hating on... People are going to say, why are you hating... People are going to say, why are you hating on Mayweather? Well, listen to this, man. I gave him credit for at least the early part of his career. But when James Prince himself came out and said, yeah, I knew we had to get Corrales at the right moment when he was having trouble making weight, I said, oh, boy. What else did they hit Manfredi and Castillo with down in those weights? You never know. But.
And that was just the beginning.
Yeah, that's
and listen, everybody, including himself, knows he lost that fight back in 2003, was it? Everybody knows. And for him to fucking celebrate the fucking 50 and you know what I mean? It's like, dude, it's so disingenuous. So you're celebrating. I don't like celebrating a bad judge's decision, and it was a bad judge's decision that night. And then when he got older, listen, I always say it, that fight was one of the best performances I've ever seen by a fighter. But when he got old and became the money man, and he waited until he caught guys super green like Canelo at 22, or fucking past their past their use date. That's what he did.
You guys hear about James Prince? What happened to him recently?
No, what happened?
So Jay Prince's nephew was murdered in his own garage. Right, one of Jay Prince's nephews was home. He was in his garage. Some guy went to rob him, shot him, and killed him.
Jeez.
So Jay Prince left a real scary message. He gets on his, I want to say, Instagram, and he says, to all my people throughout Texas, I'm here with a heavy heart. Someone killed my nephew. I'm not calling for violence, but I'm calling for you guys to keep your eyes open. Okay. When he says keep your eyes open, I'm not calling for violence, but keep your eyes open. What does that mean, right? Keep your eyes open, meaning, go if you find out who this guy is, at least let me know. We'll take care of the rest.
Oh, jeez, Luis.
Yeah. This guy's crazy. Like, he's talking about this shit. He's made many of threats. And, look, I don't know his nephew. If he was a good guy, that's fucked up. That somebody went into his... somebody went into his garage and killed him. But,
anytime someone gets murdered, whether they were bad people or not, I mean, to a point, right? Just even if he was a knucklehead, nobody deserves to get executed in their own home.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to hear the specifics of the case. Why the fuck he wanted to rob his tools? He's kind of fucking, Jiffy Lube?
Maybe.
Yeah, he could have been slinging. You know what I mean? They were looking for fucking money or drugs.
Hey, listen, if anybody has Instagram, I don't, but get on there and drop Mayweather's name. Kind of like just in. Maybe
yes.
Take care of the scoop out.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
BD8.
Yes, Gonzalo.
Mr. BD8. I was gonna say also. Did you see the tweets? De La Hoya went to Canelo's neck, then he retaliated. He went all out, told him go fuck yourself, and posted the utensils on the tweet.
Yeah, fucking De La Hoya must have been high on drugs or something. When he goes, Canelo can't. When he throws his hooks, he lifts his chin up. He's off balance. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking, look, one thing you can call Canelo all you want, say he's roided and all that. Yeah, technique is not something you can actually pinpoint as a weakness for him. So I think De La Hoya. Why is he coming out with this now, De La Hoya? I'm telling you.
You know what that tells me? I think he must know that fucking he's had a serious problem with Garcia. I'm just telling you, I'm reading between the lines because if he really, you would think he wouldn't do that because remember, who trains Garcia? Canelo. Who's fucking right now? But, I mean, you got the welterweight that nobody's going to want to fight, and you got Garcia. Those are the two fucking Golden Boys only tickets right now. Why would you want to infuriate the kid who has Garcia, who you already don't have a good relationship to begin with? Why would you want to piss him off? You see what I'm saying? So I think that he must know Garcia is really bouncing, either prematurely trying to get out of the contract or something. Something mustn't be good.
He's
He's
also
trying to make
running
it
the
worse.
Mexican connections, Oscar. You know what I'm saying? Like, be smart, dude.
Hey, by the way,
Then he also he alludes to the fact, Jimmy, that he's ducking Charlo. Then Charlo go ahead and clowns De La Hoya. Keep my name out of your mouth.
Oh, so that the guy that he was trying to get good with ends up fucking telling him to fuck up.
Keep my cock out of your mouth.
De La Hoya is not a good. Like I remember when he was doing the press tour, like, when he was gonna fight Mayweather, he kept saying, "Don't run, Floyd. Don't run." And then Floyd goes, "Yeah, at least when I run, I win. You ran against Trinidad and you lost the decision." I said, "Fuck." De La Hoya walked right into that one, man. He's not a good. He doesn't. He's not good with the comebacks, De La Hoya. So. Yeah, I'm telling you,
why is he just all of a sudden attacking Canelo though? Anybody got any? I mean, that just came out of the blue. I'm just
well,
asking.
Jimmy
I don't
has a
know.
theory in that he says that probably Ryan Garcia's trying to. He's hanging out with Canelo. Canelo's probably whispering into his ear, "Get the fuck away from De La Hoya." So now De La Hoya is pissed. I mean, that makes sense because I can't. Other than that, might just be fucking De La Hoya's high as fuck, and he goes on a power trip. He goes, "Hey, let me write this and that." But yeah, the fact that Canelo alluded to the utensils up the ass, that means that secret is out. There must actually perhaps be an actual tape of that. So I mean,
It's a love triangle over Garcia.
Yeah, love triangle. Yeah, they're gonna turn that into a telenovela for Univision next week. I heard it's already in
Let me
development.
whisper in your ear, baby.
But we should take. I was watching some videos of. Nobody's taking Ryan Garcia's mental illness seriously because he's a fucking weirdo. Nobody believes him. I mean, he's had mental illness since the beginning. You can tell.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, man. This
feeling the pressure of fighting Devin Haney. He said, "Yo, fuck that. I'm just gonna relax for a little bit. That's all."
Yeah, he's trying to show people he doesn't dance to other people's tunes. But look, at the end of the day, that's what's going on with boxing right now. So, hey, by the way, fellas, check out Second Renaissance supporters over there too, man. Keep on subscribing. I think the last episode was too rough for a couple of people, and I think that they try to shadow ban us or something. By the way, I'm still in awe at the fact that I brought up the Heat reference. It's an obscure scene from Heat. Fucking Pete was right all over it, man. So Pete, man, keep up the good work, man. Keep watching movies so you can try to keep up.
Pete. Oh, I was going to say before you go look at the pictures, man. A couple of things I picked up yesterday. Well, my girl got for me yesterday because I'll tell any of you guys if you guys have any cash. If you guys have any cash, seriously, invest it into hard goods, meaning just buy something that you know you can sell in a couple of years that will at least retain its value. Don't worry about making money because unless you like to work, in 6 months, what you're working for right now could be worth half as less at the end of the week. Inflation right now, yesterday, we reached 2008 levels, and it's only going to get worse.
Oh, boy.
So money is taking a hit, dude, like hard. So if you have any cash put aside, dude, I would just buy shit. That's why, like right there, those things my girl bought yesterday, that was, there was a lot of money she spent there because you can sell it. I can turn around, it's going to hold money value. Yeah, dude, that's an ugly game, dude. It's a long time for low money, and the money sounds good unless you got a out plan.
I'm just fucking around.
I know, dude. I've thought about it all the time, dude, because I know I could do it, but it's for the time you get now. It's just not worth it. Federal time.
I like how I brought up the word. I like how I brought up the word that the movie Heat, and this is what Jimmy comes up with. Like he's right on the fucking. He's got all the plans too, and all the hardware for that shit. But look,
the hardware.
The hardware. That sounded guy. No, he sounded like from Boston, didn't he? Dropped a little R there.
The shipyard. Hey, shout out to Precise too. I haven't seen him in a long time, bro. Good to have Precise back in this bitch.
Yeah, it's good to have Precise. I haven't heard from him in a fucking minute, man. That was cool.
With that Manny Pacquiao avatar with his little dark bowl haircut, and a sharkskin suit. I love it.
We haven't had fucking Bucho Bucho and BDA on such a long time. I was starting to think they were the same dude.
Oh, come on now. Don't start spreading
I'm like, they're not on anymore. Were they playing me the whole time?
Hey,
I'm
Jimmy,
just kidding, dude.
Jimmy, if you want to summon King Bucho, keep talking about inflation. He's going to jump right on, man. Let me tell you something.
Okay, sorry. It's true, man. I'm telling you.
You know what King Bocha's saying right now? Don't ever say I'm BDA. Don't insult me like that.
Well, he would say it in French, though. He would say it in French, not in English.
Yeah, I can speak French. I can speak Spanish, Italian.
Yeah, that motherfucker he's trilingual, right? He's fluent in 3 languages, right?
Yeah, he's trilingual, right?
Oh, actually, little known secret. He speaks Mandarin, too. He speaks Mandarin, too. Little known fact.
Yeah.
But we'll keep that in the...
Get the fuck out of here. Does he really? Does he speak a little Chinese?
Hey, you get enough wine in him, he'll fucking speak Klingon. You don't give a shit.
Are you busting stones? Does he really fucking speak Mandarin?
Yeah, he does.
Nah.
I've heard him speak.
Someone said now, and one said he does.
I was getting the feeling that maybe he's not talking, but he's listening.
Yeah, of course he's listening. Yeah,
in the background.
No, he's not. Bucho?
You know what? He's drinking wine, saying "fucking assholes."
You ever hear when BDA asks him a question, like catches him off guard, and Bucho's like, "What? Huh? What?" One time he just told BDA he didn't care. I just want to go drinking.
How about when he says,
BDA got all pissed off.
"Okay, guys, gonna end it. Bye."
Yeah. BDA, right? That silver fucking voiced fox. He just fucking, tries to be as gentleman, as pleasant as could be. Okay, we're gonna let it. I haven't eaten in 12 hours, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go now, and we're just blah, 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 blah. Fucking Bucho's waits for a 10-second pause. Okay, we're gonna end it now. Bye.
King Bucho was like a sock puppet. He was like a sock puppet on BDA's hand, and like he would make them talk. Oh, this is me, King Bucho, but they're the same guy.
Okay, that makes no sense, man. But
shout out to Bucho.
Yeah, shout out to Bucho, man. And you know what? Shout out to me too, because I'm gonna end this properly, like Jimmy said, like a gentleman.
Definitely.
Shout out to everybody who donated with the super chat. You guys know who you are.
Shout out.
There used to be a feature here on YouTube where at the end you can check it out and it tells you everybody that donated. For some reason, it's not there anymore. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out, fellas. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Do us a big solid.
Leave a comment. Even if you say fucking something stupid, they don't even go by. Just a couple of legible words. Like and a comment once in a while, man. I'll tell you, makes a big difference in the show. It gives it.
It doesn't.
It
First of all, it
moves it up
doesn't
the
even
ladder.
cost
It
anything.
shows it more. When people punch in
Doesn't cost
boxing,
anything. Doesn't cost anything. Just hit the like.
nothing. Push the button. It helps get the show fucking access, and people brings eyes to the show. We'll get more callers in.
Yeah.
Or don't. Fuck you.
All right. Well,
Hey,
listen.
Y'all are not excited for Pacquiao-Spence?
Nah, listen.
Of course, man.
Hold on. You motherfuckers are doing. You motherfuckers are doing
Come on,
the same
BDA's
thing
trying
you
to get
always.
off the line. We're not gonna bring that.
Yeah,
up.
let's get BD
Yeah,
off
you guys,
the line.
you're doing it on purpose, man. Pete was gonna say something too. I know he loves to
What are you
fucking keep
talking
me
about?
curious. Like, hey guys, let's talk about this fight. It's over. Well, we'll do it tomorrow. Or listen, there's not much going on, so drop by Second Renaissance. I'm gonna be spending much of my streaming time over there, more than here. Here we're just gonna drop single videos for the most part, unless you guys want to cover the Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather mega fight, which I don't think you will. But anyway, listen, fellas, thank you for joining us. Shout out to everybody who joined us, man. Uncle Pete,
Peace.
recognize Precise jumping back on. What the fuck, Precise? What are you doing back here?
Precise.
Time to say bye.
What's up, everybody?
And say bye.
That's a gentleman right there. I like that.
Hey, that's a good impression, Pete. you did good. You did. We got a couple of fucking impressionists here. Recognizing Pete, they imitated. Still, nobody can do BDA for some reason.
Yeah, I remember back in the day listening to. I remember him listening to him and what the fuck's that guy's name? Who had pound for pound Adonis Stevenson? What was that kid's name?
Oh,
Low
Place.
Low Place.
Yeah, I
Whoever that is should be shot.
I remember Precise going lateral movement, lateral movement. Screaming at trying to get a word in on top of it.
Yeah, he was emotionally involved.
You don't say. Well, listen.
Hey, just for the record, guys. Just for the record, I'm picking Usyk because I hate Joshua. Just for the record.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just.
I mean, listen, intangibles. When you get down to it, yeah.
Oh, Pete dropped off.
You know what I'm saying?
Bye,
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah, get lost, Pete. Bye, Pete.
A man becomes preeminent. He's expected to have enthusiasms.
Enthusiasms. Al
Enthusiasms.
Capone.
Enthusiasms.
Yep.
You.
Al Capone's speech right before he bashes the dude's head in with the baseball bat in Untouchables.
Hey, Jimmy
Robert
knows
De
his
Niro.
references too, man. Everybody's on point here with the movie references. I'm gonna go deep now for the next movie references.
I got you, dude. Go deep, kid.
I'm gonna go for some art house cinema. See if you guys can keep up with that.
Okay, what's this one from? Are we off of the air now?
No, we're still in the air.
We're off the air now, right? Oh my God! Sorry, dude. I swear to God, I thought we were off the air. Hang up, dude. All right, end this. I swear to God, I thought we were off the air. That's why we're rapping. Okay, hang up.
Jimmy was gonna bring up. Jimmy was gonna bring up a history of the birth of a nation quotes or something. All right, listen, we gotta go. Thanks everybody for joining us. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Alienated
Peace,
King,
everybody.
Pop